Chapter 42:65. Lin Feng knew that time was limited. He had to quickly kill this holy demon. Otherwise, the situation would be even worse for him. Without the slightest hesitation, Lin Feng flew towards the holy demon. Demonic qi churned, and the power of time and space intertwined. However, it couldn't stop Lin Feng's footsteps. Lin Feng rushed in front of the holy demon. He finally saw the holy demon's appearance clearly. This holy demon was 3 meters tall. Its body had dark black skin, and its body emitted an extremely evil aura. Moreover, it had 3 eyes. The eye between its eyebrows flickered with an extremely demonic light. Seeing Lin Feng rush over, the holy demon was extremely shocked. It said in disbelief, "I really didn't expect that an ant like you could actually reach this holy demon. However, what's the use of this? You'll still die." As soon as it finished speaking, the holy demon slapped its palm towards Lin Feng. Fury of the burning heavens facing the holy demon's attack, Lin Feng's face flickered with dense killing intent. Lin Feng directly used one of his trump cards, Fury of the Burning Heavens. Although this was a sacred art that Lin Feng had created himself, it was extremely powerful. It was absolutely shocking, especially after Lin Feng refined the 6th heavenly fire, the Azure Dragon True Fire. The fury of the burning heavens was even more powerful. The power of the fusion of the 6 heavenly fires was absolutely unimaginable. At this moment, the 6 heavenly fires had fused into a ball of flame. The ball of flame emitted a power that could distort time and space. It was extremely terrifying. Lin Feng directly took out the ball of flame. The ball of flame quickly flew towards the holy demon. Although the holy demon was extremely arrogant, after sensing the power of the ball of flame, his expression couldn't help but change. He quickly retreated, wanting to dodge the ball of flame. However, it was too late. That ball of flame, it instantly exploded. Boom! Accompanied by an earth-shaking explosion, Lin Yun's eyes lit up. The destructive power instantly engulfed the holy demon. Damn it! The holy devil roared and charged out of the explosion. However, after rushing out, he cut a sorry figure. His body was covered in blood, and in some places there were even wounds so deep that his bones could be seen. After seeing this scene, Lin Feng smiled. This holy demon was indeed powerful. However, the might of the burning heavens fury was also very strong. He had actually managed to injure the Saint Devil quite severely. Of course, this Saint Devil's true body was simply too terrifying. Therefore, although his current injuries seemed serious, they were not fatal. "I'll take your life." The holy fiend roared and charged towards Lin Feng. The magic power in his body surged wildly. Clearly, this Saint Devil was going to use all his strength to kill Lin Feng. In truth, Lin Feng wasn't necessarily afraid of this holy demon if he didn't use the time and space das. The most terrifying thing about this holy demon was its use of time and space. If it wasn't for the demon lord temporarily activating the demon orb to help him resist the corrosion of the power of time, his lifespan might have been completely stripped away. Lin Feng was very clear about this. However, the key was that he was no longer afraid of the other party's power of time. When the holy demon charged towards him again, Lin Feng began to use the Great Curse technique. The power of Lin Feng's Great Curse technique was no longer comparable to before. He tried to use the Great Curse technique to deal a fatal blow to the holy demon. After failing several times, the holy demon was about to reach Lin Feng and attack Lin Feng. At this moment, the Great Curse technique finally came into effect. A poochie sound could be heard. A bloody hole appeared in the holy demon's chest. Fresh blood immediately flowed out. The holy demon let out an incomparably shrill scream. Anyone's chest would become one of their fatal weaknesses. Although this holy demon was powerful, the damage to his chest was also extremely great. This was because there was a heart in his chest. Lin Feng's attack just now had already pierced through his heart. Therefore, the damage from this attack was naturally extremely severe. Moreover, this attack just now directly interrupted the divine ability that the holy demon had condensed. Lin Feng stepped forward and prepared the 6 paths of reincarnation fist. He punched towards the holy demon. In a hurry, the holy demon moved to block Lin Feng's 6 paths of reincarnation fist. Bang! The two sides fiercely collided. The heavily injured holy demon couldn't block Lin Feng's attack and was sent flying by Lin Feng's punch. Peak state. He was indeed powerful. However, this guy had underestimated Lin Feng's strength from the beginning. He didn't have much of his guard up against Lin Feng. Then, he was injured by Lin Feng's burning wrath of the heavens. This was the turning point of this battle. After being injured by Lin Feng's burning wrath of the heavens, this guy couldn't recover from the setback. He was passively taking a beating everywhere. This holy demon wanted to break free from Lin Feng, but Lin Feng didn't give him a chance to do so. Lin Feng rushed forward and held the holy demon back. The second punch of the 6 paths of reincarnation fist flew towards this holy demon. This holy demon couldn't dodge Lin Feng's attack and could only take Lin Feng's attack head-on. The two sides collided again. Bang! Accompanied by the violent sound of collision, this holy demon was sent flying by Lin Feng's punch. He coughed up large mouthfuls of blood in midair. His face was as pale as a sheet. This holy demon was practically mad with hatred. When had he ever suffered such a great loss? Even when he was trapped in the Forbidden God world back then, he was trapped by a great formation and not injured so severely. This holy demon tried to counterattack and turn the situation around, but his attempts didn't have any effect at all. As a result, this holy demon, he was being suppressed by Lin Feng more and more. Brat, let's sit down and talk. I can satisfy you whatever you want. This holy demon said with a gloomy expression. He didn't want to make peace with Lin Feng. In his opinion, this was a great humiliation to his dignity. However, his current situation was rather bad. He had no choice but to lower his head in front of Lin Feng. This guy had already thought it through. Once he was free, he would immediately launch a counterattack against Lin Feng. This holy demon's biggest problem now was that he couldn't use a powerful ability to counterattack against Lin Feng. This holy demon believed that even if his injuries were extremely serious, as long as he had enough time, he would be able to use his trump card. He would definitely be able to kill Lin Feng. I only want your life, Yi Fuqian said. Lin Feng sneered. He wasn't moved at all. His attacks became even fiercer. Lin Feng stepped forward. The 6 paths of reincarnation fist was ready once again. He threw a punch at the holy devil. This was Lin Feng's 12th 6 paths of reincarnation fist. Chapter 4266. The power of the 6 paths of reincarnation fist would increase exponentially with each additional punch. Lin Feng had unleashed 12 consecutive punches of the 6 paths of reincarnation fist. From this, it could be seen how powerful Lin Feng's 6 paths of reincarnation fist was. It had definitely reached an unimaginably terrifying level. Facing Lin Feng's punch, the holy demon still had no choice but to take Lin Feng's 6 paths of reincarnation fist head-on. The biggest problem he was facing now was that he didn't have enough time to use those top-notch divine abilities. Lin Feng completely cut off the time he had to use those top-notch divine abilities because Lin Feng knew that this guy was too terrifying. If he gave him enough time to use those heaven-defying divine abilities, he would be the unlucky one. Bang! Crack! Crack! Lin Feng and the holy demon clashed once again with the sound of violent collisions and bones cracking. This time, the holy demon suffered a calamity. His arm was directly broken by Lin Feng's punch. The white bone even pierced through his flesh. The holy demon screamed and was sent flying by Lin Feng. As the battle progressed, the holy demon's injuries became more and more serious. Therefore, the current situation for this holy devil was extremely bad. On the other hand, Lin Feng became more and more courageous as the battle progressed. Therefore, the holy demon also knew that his current situation was very bad. Lin Feng charged towards the holy demon once again. At this moment, the third eye between the holy demon's eyebrows flickered with blood-red light. During this period, he had been trying to activate the third eye between his eyebrows. However, it wasn't an easy task. However, he didn't give up. Now, he finally succeeded in activating the third eye between his eyebrows. Swoosh! A blood-red light directly flew out from the third eye between the holy demon's eyebrows. That blood-red light pierced towards Lin Feng's body. The void was instantly pierced through. That blood-red light flew in front of Lin Feng in the blink of an eye. It was about to pierce through Lin Feng's body. The holy demon's face couldn't help but reveal an excited expression. How long had it been since he was so excited? Today he was suppressed so badly by Lin Feng. Now that the holy demon saw a chance to turn the tables and win, he became extremely excited. However, just as the blood-red light was about to pierce through Lin Feng's body, Lin Feng actually disappeared. Lin Feng used the teleportation divine ability he had obtained from the Myriad Tribe's divine palace. This divine ability was unfathomable. Now that Lin Feng had used that skill, it was surprisingly effective. Lin Feng knew that the holy demon's attack just now had consumed a lot of his energy. The holy demon, turned around and punched behind him. Lin Feng silently appeared behind the holy demon and faced the holy demon's terrifying punch. Lin Feng condensed numerous runes. They were the runes condensed from the 8 god sealing seals. Some of the runes blocked the holy demon's attack, and some of the runes, they suppressed the holy demon's body. The holy fiend roared and struggled continuously. The runes began to crack. Lin Feng hurriedly used the great suppression technique. He condensed a suppress word. The suppress word suppressed the holy demon's body. Instantly, the holy demon couldn't move. Bang! Then, Lin Feng fiercely punched the holy demon's dantian. My dantian! You actually crippled my dantian. You actually crippled my dantian. You will die a horrible death. You will die a horrible death, the holy demon roared furiously. His dantian was crippled. This guy was no longer a threat. You should die a horrible death. You devoured so many innocent people. Even if you died 1,000 times, 10,000 times, it wouldn't be enough. You just didn't expect to die in my hands in the end, right? Ha 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 ha. Lin Feng couldn't help but laugh loudly. Then, he grabbed the holy demon's forehead with his right hand. Lin Feng began to use the soul-searching technique on the holy demon. This guy knew the Tao of Time. Lin Feng wanted to see if he could find any memories of the Tao of Time from the holy demon's soul. If possible, then it would be a great help to Lin Feng, the Tao of Space and the Tao of Time combined. It definitely had heaven-defying power. Thinking of this, Lin Feng's face couldn't help but reveal an expression of great anticipation. The reason why Lin Feng had crippled that guy's cultivation was that after that guy's cultivation was crippled, he wouldn't be able to resist anymore. As a result, when Lin Feng used the soul-searching technique on the holy demon, the success rate would greatly increase. After resisting for a while, the holy demon's willpower was broken down by Lin Feng. Lin Feng began to search the holy demon's soul. All sorts of memories flashed through his mind. Lin Feng wasn't interested in the holy demon's other memories. He was only interested in the Tao of Time. Suddenly, Lin Feng sensed the power of time in one of the holy demon's memories. Is this the Tao of Time? Lin Feng's face lit up with joy. He guessed that the holy demon's memories probably recorded the cultivation method of the Tao of Time. Otherwise, why would the power of time appear in that memory? Just as Lin Feng was about to explore it, a sudden change occurred. A deep and cold voice sounded from the holy demon's memories. "Who is it? How dare you kill a member of my clan?" When that voice spread in the air, Lin Feng had the impression that the atmosphere was frozen. He didn't know what method that existence had used to make his consciousness appear in the holy demon's memories. The holy demon's memories began to burn. As they burned, a powerful force was released. Sacrifice. Lin Feng was shocked. The other party was sacrificing the holy demon's memories in exchange for the possibility of Lin Feng's soul descending. Seeing this, Lin Feng hurriedly used Luya's stargazing atlas. Swoosh! Luya's stargazing atlas condensed and slashed at the burning holy demon's memories. Bang! Luya's stargazing atlas slammed into the burning holy demon's memories. The burning holy demon's memories exploded. A furious voice sounded. "Brat, this seat won't let you off. This seat will tear you to pieces." Following that, everything returned to normal. The terrifying existence's soul power didn't descend. Lin Feng couldn't help but let out a long breath. Lin Feng searched through the exploded holy demon's memories. However, the memories contained within them had already disappeared. This made Lin Feng somewhat depressed. However, when he thought about how he was about to obtain a holy demon fruit, his depressed mood was swept away. Lin Feng slapped the holy demon's body, causing it to explode. Lin Feng's powerful magic power surged out and enveloped the holy demon's origin. Next, the holy demon's origin was refined into a holy demon fruit by Lin Feng. Chapter 42:67. Lin Feng played with the Saint Devil fruit in his hand. He couldn't help but smile. Lin Feng already knew that the devil cultivator's source could be turned into a fruit. For example, after a powerful sky devil was killed, the cultivator had a certain probability of refining the source of the sky devil into a sky devil fruit. This situation was exactly the same as when Lin Feng refined the source of the Saint Devil into a Saint Devil fruit. It was rumored that the earliest devil race was born from a Saint Devil fruit. So, after some devils fell, their source could return to its ancestral roots. Therefore, their source could be refined into a fruit. Of course, this kind of devil race was extremely rare. Moreover, the effect of the fruit formed from their source was different. The difference between the sky devil fruit and the Saint Devil fruit was like heaven and earth. There was no comparison at all. Lin Feng quickly left this Starseed world. Lin Feng planned to find a place to refine this Saint Devil fruit to increase his cultivation. Not long after Lin Feng left, a cloud of devil fog flew over from afar. In the devil fog, there was a tall and sturdy cultivator. "Where are you? Where are you?" That cultivator was clearly a devil cultivator. His eyes were flowing with tears of blood. He kept roaring loudly. The demonic Tao cultivator finally stopped in the Star Sea realm. The demonic Tao cultivator waved his hand, and a series of images appeared. More than 10 devil cultivators, including a 5 to 6-year-old boy and a 5 to 6-year-old girl, were surrounded and attacked by a dense crowd of cultivators. Although those people argued that they weren't Saint Devil cultivators, but no one believed them. They would rather kill 1,000 by mistake. They wouldn't let a single one go. The group of people held such a mentality. Although those Devil Tao cultivators were powerful, they were not the only ones. They weren't a match for so many cultivators. One by one, the devil cultivators were killed. In the end, only the little boy and the little girl were left. A young master in a golden robe was holding a war spear. He stabbed with his spear. Pooh, pooh. His war spear directly pierced through the little boy and the little girl's body, killing their young lives in midair. Then, those cultivators began to refine them. They wanted to refine them into Saint Devil fruits. But those cultivators failed. Many cultivators couldn't help but curse. Then, a large number of cultivators scattered and went to find the Saint Devil cultivators. My child, my child, my child, the demonic Tao cultivator roared. Their group went through the Star Sea world. Originally, they wanted to go through the Tao Saint Star domain to the Undying Realm. Midway, they were chased by powerful enemies. The Devil Tao cultivator ordered his subordinates to escort his child away first. He, on the other hand, intercepted those enemies. When he had shaken off his pursuers and returned to chase after the group of people, he had to wait for the time being. His son and daughter's origin soul lamp. Like a madman, now, in this world, this demonic cultivator could only watch helplessly as his subordinate, his own child, was brutally killed. Cultivators, devil cultivators weren't necessarily bad people. As for those cultivators who claimed to be righteous cultivators, they were often evil people. Cultivation techniques didn't distinguish between good and evil. Instead, people were divided into good and evil. This was not wrong at all. Lil Yuan, Daddy will avenge you. Daddy will avenge you. The devil cultivator cried out hysterically as he shed tears of blood. The devil chi in his body overflowed. He quickly flew into the distance. His aura became chaotic. Obviously, this devil cultivator, it was as if he was going to go berserk. At that moment, Lin Feng looked for a lonely star and landed on it. There were some dilapidated ancient cities on that lonely star. Lin Feng frowned. This star seemed to have been destroyed not long ago. It seemed to have been destroyed by the Saint Devil. The living beings on the star were probably devoured by the Saint Devil. Lin Feng found a secluded place and set up a formation. Then he went into seclusion. First, he spent a day to adjust his body to the best state. Then, Lin Feng swallowed the Saint Devil fruit. He began to refine the Saint Devil fruit. The Saint Devil fruit turned into the purest form of energy. It flowed in Lin Feng's body. The powerful energy was absorbed by Lin Feng's body. Then, the powerful energy fused with Lin Feng's magic power. Lin Feng's magic power began to transform. Under the effect of that energy, Lin Feng's magic power became purer and purer. This made Lin Feng smile. Awesome. It was too awesome. The Saint Devil Fruit's effect was too good. He could clearly feel his magic power transforming. It was too difficult for Lin Feng to break through a level. He needed to go against the heavens and change his fate. He had to constantly find all kinds of powerful treasures to support his body's transformation. And the Holy Devil Fruit was such a heavenly treasure. Lin Feng spent 2 days to completely refine and absorb the Saint Devil Fruit. As for Lin Feng, he broke through from the 7th heavenly layer to the 8th heavenly layer of the Emperor Realm. Next is to break through to the 9th heavenly layer of the Emperor Realm, then the 10th heavenly layer of the Emperor Realm, then the Sage Emperor Realm. Lin Feng's face lit up. Lin Feng originally thought that it would take a long time to break through to the Sage Emperor Realm. After all, it was already so difficult for ordinary people to break through to the Sage Emperor Realm, let alone him. But now, Lin Feng saw the hope of quickly breaking through to the Sage Emperor Realm. That was to continuously hunt down Saint Devils, to continuously collect Saint Devil fruits, then to refine them. Lin Feng came out of seclusion. Just as he was about to fly out of the star, Lin Feng suddenly felt the star tremble slightly. What happened? Lin Feng was surprised. When he continued to sense it, he discovered that the trembling had disappeared. Could it be that I'm mistaken? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter, "It's not an illusion. This star really did tremble. Go underground and take a look. I feel that the trembling of the star is coming from underground." The demon Lord said. Hearing this, Lin Feng nodded. He used the Great Earth Movement technique and quickly drilled underground. The surrounding soil and sand all opened up a path for Lin Feng. After diving for 100,000 meters, he still didn't find anything. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. If he continued down, he would reach the core world. Even with Lin Feng's cultivation, he wasn't willing to go to a place like the core world because the core world was very dangerous. If external forces entered, it could easily cause the core world to explode. If the core world exploded, even immortals would most likely die from the destructive energy of the explosion. Just as Lin Feng was hesitating whether to leave or not, a violent fluctuation came from below. Lin Feng was shocked. Something unknown must have happened below. Lin Feng instantly threw the thought of leaving away. Lin Feng continued to dive deeper. Chapter 42, 68. 110,000 meters. 120,000 meters. 130,000 meters. Lin Feng kept diving deeper and deeper. Finally, he came to a depth of 150,000 meters underground. The temperature here was extremely hot. There was magma everywhere. The magma was tumbling violently. This was the magma world. It was the outer region of the core world. Lin Feng finally came to this place. Of course, the temperature here did not pose much of a threat to Lin Feng. He flew quickly above the magma world. Lin Feng found that the magma world below was tumbling continuously. From time to time, huge waves would sweep through the world. There were no living creatures in the magma world. It was very difficult for living creatures to survive in such a place. Lin Feng continued flying. He saw the core of the world in the depths of the earth. It was a distorted world. It was as black as ink. A powerful devouring force surged from that place. It was like a ferocious beast that chose its prey. If one's cultivation was insufficient, they would be instantly devoured by the huge whirlpool in the depths of the core world. There was a tall and burly cultivator standing above the whirlpool. At this moment, the cultivator was constantly devouring the energy of the core world. Damn, this works too? Lin Feng's face revealed an expression of disbelief. Devouring the energy in the depths of the core world to improve one's cultivation. This method was really shocking. It was Lin Feng's first time seeing such a terrifying method. It was a holy demon. The aura on his body was exactly the same as the holy demon that Lin Feng had killed earlier. When the holy demon saw Lin Feng, he laughed sinisterly. It was a contemptuous, cold, and indifferent gaze. Perhaps in the eyes of the earth demon, Lin Feng was nothing in front of him. He could kill Lin Feng with just a flick of his finger. Lin Feng took a deep breath. The holy demon had reached the critical stage of transformation, so he did not attack Lin Feng. Lin Feng saw the holy demon's body swelling continuously. The Saint Devil's aura became stronger and stronger. Lin Feng immediately summoned the 4 stone swords. With a wave of his hand, the 4 stone swords quickly slashed towards the holy fiend. Lin Feng naturally wouldn't let this holy devil complete its transformation. Now that this holy devil was at a critical juncture of its transformation, most of his energy was focused on it. As such, all he had to do was interrupt this holy devil's breakthrough. In that case, this saint devil would definitely suffer a backlash. No matter how powerful he was, once he suffered a backlash, his battle prowess would drop drastically. At that time, Lin Feng would have plenty of opportunities to kill this holy demon. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. The 4 stone swords were extremely fast. They quickly arrived in front of the holy devil and slashed towards it. After sensing the terrifying power contained within the 4 stone swords, the saint devil's expression changed slightly. Just now, he saw how young Lin Feng was, so he looked down on Lin Feng. Only now did he know how powerful Lin Feng was. This holy devil continued to transform while diverting part of its attention to deal with Lin Feng's 4 stone swords. He stretched out a palm. He waved his hand. Powerful dermic powers surged out and directly suppressed Lin Feng. That powerful dermic powers were about to suppress Lin Feng's 4 stone swords. Who would have thought Lin Feng's 4 stone swords instantly dispersed? Under Lin Feng's control, the 4 stone swords changed their direction of attack and didn't attack the holy devil head-on. The holy devil's attack missed. Of course, this holy devil was very powerful. Although it didn't hit Lin Feng's 4 stone swords, the space around him started to distort. The 4 stone swords were trapped in the distorted space, and their speed decreased drastically. Once the speed of the 4 stone swords decreased, their power was greatly affected. This holy devil once again suppressed Lin Feng's 4 stone swords. This guy's face revealed an extremely proud expression. But in the next moment, this guy's expression became extremely ugly because Lin Feng took out many powerful dermic treasures after the 4 stone swords. For example, Lin Feng took out the 9 demons picture, Black Dragon Sword, Hell King Bell, Heavenly Drum, 5 Flames 7 Birds fan, 5 Dragon Wheel Creation Gourd, and other treasures. Those supreme treasures all shot towards the sacred demon. Apocalyptic Ripple. This holy devil hurriedly used a powerful divine ability to block the attacks of so many dermic treasures. After this divine ability was used, with this holy devil as the center, ripples spread out in all directions. Those ripples contained unimaginably terrifying power. Then, those ripples collided with Lin Feng's dermic treasures. Many of Lin Feng's dermic treasures were hit by those ripples, and their speed and power were greatly reduced. This guy really had a lot of tricks up his sleeve, and his methods were really terrifying. As expected of a holy devil, his combat strength was really heaven-defying. However, among Lin Feng's dermic treasures, there was one treasure that avoided the attacks of the ripples. This treasure was the stone dagger that Lin Feng had obtained in the world of exile. The stone dagger was a stone dagger. Because this dagger was relatively short, it was very flexible to control. Also, because of its small size, the chances of it avoiding the apocalyptic ripples were much higher. In addition, Lin Feng deliberately used other dermic treasures to help the stone dagger block the apocalyptic ripples. Therefore, even though a few apocalyptic ripples were about to hit the stone dagger, they were all blocked by other dermic treasures in the end. Just like that, the stone dagger arrived in front of the holy devil without any hindrance, and then pierced towards the holy devil's body. Humph! The holy devil coldly snorted and slapped the stone dagger with his palm. Dermic powers coiled around the surface of his palm. The holy devil wanted to slap the stone dagger away with his palm. However, he underestimated the stone dagger's power. The stone dagger's power was very terrifying. The stone dagger instantly pierced through the dermic powers coiling around the holy devil's palm. Then, with a poochie sound, it directly pierced the holy devil's palm. The stone dagger was stuck in the holy devil's palm. Dense runes suddenly appeared on the surface of the stone dagger. When those runes appeared, the stone dagger's devouring ability had been greatly improved. A large amount of blood surged into the stone dagger. This stone dagger's blood-sucking ability was incomparably terrifying. A large amount of blood in the holy devil's body was devoured by the stone dagger. Because of this, the holy devil's blood loss caused the blood chi in his body to collapse, and his breakthrough state was interrupted. Chapter 42:69. Brat, you caused me to fail my breakthrough. I'm going to kill you. This terrifying existence roared angrily. The killing intent in his heart was monstrous. Everything was because of Lin Feng. Everything was because of Lin Feng. If it wasn't for Lin Feng, how could he have failed his breakthrough? Now, he wished he could cut Lin Feng into 1,000 pieces. However, his situation was rather bad. He had suffered a backlash, causing his battle strength to plummet. Moreover, a large amount of blood in his body had been devoured by the stone dagger. After a large amount of blood in his body had been devoured by the stone dagger, his cultivation level had plummeted once again. The collapse of one's chi and blood had a huge impact on a cultivator. This impact, it was simply fatal. This holy devil also knew that he couldn't continue like this. If this continued, his body would suffer even more serious injuries. Therefore, this holy devil directly chopped off the palm that was pierced by the stone dagger. At the critical moment, this guy was ruthless enough to himself. Whoosh! This holy devil quickly flew towards Lin Feng, wanting to kill Lin Feng. His speed was simply too fast, so fast that it was inconceivable. Have a taste of my energy bomb. Lin Feng sneered and directly used the burning wrath of the heavens. The 6 heavenly fires were compressed into a ball of flame. Then, Lin Feng took out the ball of flame. The ball of flame quickly flew towards this holy devil. After Lin Feng refined the 6th heavenly fire, he liked the burning wrath of the heavens very much. The burning wrath of the heavens that had fused with 6 heavenly fires was simply too powerful, and it was incomparably easy to use. Of course, the most important thing was the burning wrath of the heavens. It could erupt with unimaginable power. It could often cause great damage to the enemy. When he killed the first holy devil, the burning wrath of the heavens played a key role. Although this holy devil was incomparably angry, he didn't lose his mind. After sensing the power of the ball of flame, his expression suddenly changed. This holy devil quickly moved to the left, wanting to dodge the terrifying power of the ball of flame. However, the next moment, the fireball had already exploded and a destructive energy wave engulfed the holy devil. At this critical juncture, the holy devil actually summoned a defensive light barrier. The defensive light barrier protected the holy devil within. That defensive light shield was very powerful, and it was able to withstand the impact of that terrifying energy. Of course, although he managed to withstand the impact of the terrifying energy, he did not come out unscathed. In fact, the defensive light barrier had already been shattered to pieces and could no longer serve any defensive purpose. The holy devil heaved a sigh of relief. However, Lin Feng's dozen or so powerful magic treasures had already flown over. The Saint Devil's expression turned grave. Lin Feng had too many attacking methods. He switched between divine abilities and magic treasures in various ways. And the most abnormal thing was that Lin Feng was actually able to activate more than 10 powerful magic treasures at the same time. Clearly, Lin Feng was capable of multitasking. This kind of ability really made people envious. Facing the attacks of those powerful magic treasures, a light flashed in the holy devil's hand, and a battle spear appeared. He held the battle spear with one hand. He swept the surrounding magic treasures with the other. Clang, clang, clang. A series of violent collisions rang out. One powerful magic treasure after another was blasted away. However, a few magic treasures still managed to break through the defense and arrived in front of the holy devil. Then, They ruthlessly slammed into the holy devil's body. The holy devil was instantly sent flying. Who knew how many of its bones had been broken by the impact? The holy devil spat out large mouthfuls of blood. His injuries were truly too severe. This brat is vicious. It's not good to continue fighting. The Saint Devil's eyes flashed with an extremely unsightly expression. He did not dare to continue fighting with Lin Feng. He turned around and quickly flew away. Right now, he only had one thought, and that was to escape. Escape as far as he could. You can't escape. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He put away all the magic treasures and quickly chased after the fleeing holy devil. Now that the holy devil was severely injured, it was a great opportunity to kill him. If he could not kill this holy devil now, it would be even more difficult to kill him when he recovered. The holy devil's speed was extremely fast. However, Lin Feng was also very fast, so the holy devil could not shake off Lin Feng at all. Both of them flew out from the underground world, and the holy devil flew above the desolate mountain forest. Lin Feng was hot on his tail. Brat, must you be so ruthless? We can negotiate. I can tell you the location of many immortal mansions. There are endless treasures in those immortal mansions, and they might even contain immortal sutras. As long as you agree to let me go, those immortal mansions will be yours in the future. The holy devil shouted loudly. Right now, he did not care about his dignity. Surviving was the most important thing, said Lin Feng with a cold smile on his face. Even though I'm not a gentleman, I can't wait to get rid of you as soon as possible. After hearing Lin Feng's words, the holy devil knew that there was no possibility of making peace with Lin Feng, so he continued to run. However, not long after, Lin Feng caught up to him. Lin Feng and the holy devil fought. This holy devil was extremely terrifying. Although it was severely injured, its battle strength was still extremely tyrannical. However, Lin Feng's methods were even more powerful. After a bitter battle, the holy devil was finally killed by Lin Feng. Powerful magic power continuously surged out of Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng's magic power wrapped around the corpse of the holy devil and then directly refined it into a holy devil fruit. Great, I've finally gotten another holy devil fruit. Lin Feng smiled. Just as he was about to leave, the void suddenly split open. A golden flying sword the size of a palm flew out of the void. The flying sword was too fast. It was so fast that Lin Feng could not react in time. Moreover, the flying sword's grade was extremely high. Its power was incomparably terrifying. The flying sword instantly pierced through the void. It locked onto Lin Feng and slashed towards Lin Feng's head. At that moment, Lin Feng felt that he was about to be pulled into hell. The aura of death enveloped his entire body. This caused Lin Feng to involuntarily reveal an aghast expression. Lin Feng had not felt such a feeling for a long time, but now he once again felt such a dense aura of death. This flying sword was too terrifying, wasn't it? The power was so strong that it was simply shocking. P.S. The recommendation votes have been a little low recently. Can I cast 2,000 recommendation votes today? Everyone, see if you have any recommendation votes. Vote for the Archean Dragonesque Elephant Art. Chapter 4270. It was too late to defend against the flying sword's attack. Therefore, Lin Feng did not think about defending against the flying sword's attack. He directly used the heaven patching technique. Lin Feng instantly disappeared from the spot. Besides, that flying sword had cut through the air and hadn't been able to injure Lin Feng in the slightest. Lin Feng avoided a disaster. Because of that, he appeared 300 meters away. Lin Feng shouted coldly, "Who are you, scoundrel? How dare you ambush me behind my back? Is this all you've got? Get the hell out here, for me." Hearing Lin Feng's cold shout, a dozen cultivators flew over. Immediately, a dozen or so cultivators flew out. The leader was a middle-aged cultivator, and the palm-sized flying sword landed in his hand. Humph! The middle-aged cultivator looked coldly at Lin Feng and snorted. His eyes flashed with killing intent. "Junior, you're really arrogant." Lin Feng narrowed his eyes and looked at the cultivators. They were wearing the Dao Saint Palace's uniform. Lin Feng had killed Di Juetian before, so he naturally recognized their uniforms. The middle-aged cultivator was an itinerant immortal. No wonder he was so powerful. His cultivation level was high, and the flying sword was very powerful. Therefore, the power he could unleash with the flying sword was extremely terrifying. Lin Feng said indifferently, "I thought the Dao Saint Palace was a righteous sect, but now it seems like it's just a sanctimonious sect. How shameless are the people in the sect." "Kid, what did you say? How dare you? How dare you humiliate the Dao Saint Palace? Are you tired of living?" The cultivators of the Dao Saint Palace, who heard Lin Feng's words, roared angrily. They looked at Lin Feng with killing intent. The Dao Saint Palace held a very high position in their hearts. Even the Undying Realm had to treat it with caution, because the Dao Saint Palace had a very strong foundation. It was said that there were no less than 10 immortals sleeping in the Dao Saint Palace. Moreover, there were more. There were some high-level immortals. Most importantly, the Dao Saint Palace had the Heavenly Path Infinite Diagram, an ancient weapon. Ancient weapons were existences that surpassed immortal weapons. If its full power was released, it could easily kill an immortal-level expert. From this, one could see how terrifying ancient weapons were. The Dao Saint Palace had the Heaven Path Limitless Diagram, so no one dared to underestimate the Dao Saint Palace. But now, someone dared to insult Dao Saint Palace. How could the cultivators of Dao Saint Palace allow such a thing to happen? What? Am I wrong? How could he not allow others to talk about what he had done? Well, it makes sense. They talk about the righteousness of the immortal Dao, but they are evil and vicious behind their backs. This is the style of many self-proclaimed righteous sects. Lin Feng curled his lips and continued. The eyes of the cultivators from the Dao Saint Palace flashed with murderous intent. They were completely enraged. "Brat, do you think you can say whatever you want just because you killed a holy demon? Then you are gravely mistaken. Anyone who offends the Dao Saint Palace will not have a good ending. I don't care who you are, but you must die today." As soon as he finished speaking, the itinerant, immortal expert summoned the flying sword again. Although the golden flying sword was very small in size, its power was indeed unimaginable. However, Lin Feng was not completely helpless against the golden flying sword. When the golden flying sword flew over again, Lin Feng summoned the heaven-devouring jar. Lin Feng knew that it was not wise to fight the golden flying sword head-on. Therefore, he planned to use the heaven-devouring jar to devour the flying sword. The heaven-devouring jar could devour all kinds of treasures. Naturally, it could devour the flying sword as well. Of course, if some treasures were too powerful, the heaven-devouring jar might not be able to devour them. After all, the current sky-devouring jar was still incomplete. There was still a certain gap between it and its peak power. Violent waves surged out of the heaven-devouring jar. After the heaven-devouring jar was summoned, it released a huge black hole. The black hole spun violently. Every time it spun, it vibrated with an extremely shocking power. Following the huge black hole's whirlpool, a powerful devouring force surged out and enveloped the incoming flying sword. After the flying sword was enveloped by the devouring force released by the heaven-devouring jar, it quickly flew toward the jar. Seeing this, the itinerant immortal expert from the Tao St. Palace's expression changed abruptly. He hurriedly controlled the flying sword to rush out of the heaven-devouring jar's range. The flying sword shook the void and tore an opening as if it wanted to rush out of the opening. However, at this moment, Lin Feng shot out runes. They were runes formed by the 8 god binding seals. Dense runes were branded above the flying sword, suppressing it directly. No matter how the flying sword struggled, it could not break free from the heaven-devouring jar's devouring force. Sword formation. The itinerant, immortal expert shouted in a low voice. As soon as he finished speaking, the cultivators beside him summoned flying swords one after another. The flying swords of more than 10 cultivators formed a sword formation dragon in the void. The sword formation dragon quickly slashed toward Lin Feng. After sensing the power of the sword formation dragon, Lin Feng could not help but be shocked. The sword formation dragon was truly powerful. The combined power of the Tao St. Palace's itinerant immortal and his subordinates was absolutely terrifying. Lin Feng was now fully focused on urging the heaven-devouring jar to devour the flying sword. He did not have the energy to deal with the sword Qi dragon that was slashing toward him. Therefore, Lin Feng summoned his avatar. A light flashed in Lin Feng's dantian. His avatar wielded a black battle spear and swept it toward the sword Qi dragon. Clang, 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 clang. A series of clanging sounds rang out as the flying swords were swept away by the avatar's black battle spear. An immortal realm avatar, when he saw Lin Feng's avatar, the Tao St. Palace itinerant immortal's eyes flashed with deep greed. He could naturally tell the power of the avatar at a glance. What shocked him even more was that the avatar was formed from a sacred spirit of the Stone Clan. Others might not have been able to sense it, but the Tao St. Palace itinerant immortal was very familiar with the aura of Stone Clan's sacred spirits. The Tao St. Palace's independent celestial couldn't wait to kill Lin Feng and turn Lin Feng's celestial body into his own. At this moment, Lin Feng finally controlled the heaven-devouring jar to devour the golden flying sword. The golden flying sword was definitely an incredible treasure. Lin Feng waited patiently to refine it. My flying sword. The Tao St. Palace itinerant immortal roared when he realized that his flying sword had been devoured by Lin Feng's treasure. He waved his hand, and a huge energy palm formed in the air, slamming down on Lin Feng. The Tao St. Palace itinerant immortal thought that Lin Feng's battle prowess was due to the power provided by his avatar. Therefore, when the avatar left Lin Feng's body, Lin Feng had become extremely weak. This was the best time to kill Lin Feng. The Tao St. Palace itinerant immortal looked at Lin Feng as if he were looking at a dead man. In his opinion, without the support of his avatar, Lin Feng would die without a doubt. Chapter 42:71. Lin Feng couldn't help but sneer in the face of the attack. He raised his hand and slapped at the incoming energy palm. Bang! With a violent collision sound, Lin Feng shattered the energy palm from the Tao St. Palace's loose immortal. Although the Tao St. Palace's loose immortal was extremely powerful, Lin Feng's current strength was also outstanding. Even without using the power of his clone, Lin Feng was still confident that he could neutralize the attack of an ordinary loose immortal. What's more, the Tao St. Palace's loose immortal hadn't used his full strength in that attack. Neutralizing that attack wasn't difficult for Lin Feng. Whoosh! At this moment, the clone turned into a stream of light and flew back into Lin Feng's body. After merging with the clone's power, Lin Feng's strength increased greatly. Lin Feng sneered at the Tao St. Palace's loose immortal. Now it's my turn to attack. Are you all ready to die? When Lin Feng finished talking, he immediately used the empty space spell. Lin Feng's use of the spatial Tao had reached a rather profound level. Therefore, once the spatial Tao was used, its power was extremely shocking. Just like now, after Lin Feng used the spatial stop ability, the surrounding space seemed to have fallen into a state of stillness. The dozen or so Tao St. Palaces experts suddenly found themselves unable to move. Only the Tao St. Palaces loose immortal could still move. Lin Feng waved his hand, and dense sword chi slashed at the Tao St. Palaces experts. The Tao St. Palaces experts were horrified. They were imprisoned in midair by Lin Feng and couldn't resist Lin Feng's attack at all. "My lord, save us." The Tao St. Palaces experts looked pleadingly at the Tao St. Palaces loose immortal. They couldn't resist Lin Feng's attack. Therefore, they could only place their hopes on the Tao St. Palaces loose immortal, but the Tao St. Palace loose immortals ignored their pleas for help. Now, the Tao St. Palace's loose immortals found the various abilities and battle prowess displayed by Lin Feng inconceivable. The Tao St. Palace itinerant immortal knew that it was unrealistic for him to kill Lin Feng now that his magic treasure had been taken away by Lin Feng. Therefore, the most important thing now was to leave quickly and find the other immortal realm experts of the Tao St. Palace. This time, there was even a human immortal realm expert from the Tao St. Palace who walked out. Of course, perhaps there was no need for an expert of this level to make a move. They only needed to find another expert of the loose immortal level to join forces, and they would definitely be able to kill Lin Feng. The Tao St. Palace's loose immortals rushed out of the void sealed by Lin Feng and quickly fled into the distance. Puff, puff, puff. Then, the sound of tearing could be heard. One by one, the experts of the Tao St. Palace were killed by Lin Feng. These people were either Sage Emperor-level experts or Emperor Lord-level experts. They were all very powerful. Lin Feng took their original strengths and their rings, then quickly chased after the Tao St. Palace's independent celestial cultivators. Lin Feng's speed was simply too fast. Moreover, he knew the Tao of space. Therefore, it was almost impossible for the Tao St. Palace's loose immortals to escape from Lin Feng. Not long later, Lin Feng caught up with the Tao St. Palace's loose immortals. "You can't escape. Today, you will definitely die." Lin Feng sneered and attacked the Tao St. Palace's loose immortals with a palm strike. The Tao St. Palace's loose immortals turned around and attacked with a palm strike. The two sides collided violently, and then both of them were sent flying. "Kid, I'm a fourth heaven loose immortal. You can't kill me. I don't want to fight to the death with you. If you know what's good for you, leave quickly." The Tao St. Palace's loose immortals looked indifferently at Lin Feng and said. Lin Feng sneered, "You think too highly of yourself. I admit that you're very powerful, but I have a great treasure on me. Killing you is a simple matter. Kid, even if you have a great treasure, don't even think about killing me. Even if you can use a treasure to suppress me, if I counterattack before I die, I'll drag you down with me." The Tao St. Palace's loose immortals continued to threaten Lin Feng. Actually, this guy's words made sense. His cultivation level was very high. If he wanted to drag Lin Feng down with him before he died, it was indeed possible. However, the premise was that Lin Feng's treasure couldn't completely suppress him. Only then would he have the chance to drag Lin Feng down with him. However, the reality was different from what the Tao St. Palace's loose immortals thought. Lin Feng had a great defensive treasure, the ruler's armor. He also had many powerful treasures. Lin Feng had too many treasures. With these treasures, Lin Feng believed that he could suppress the Tao St. Palace's cultivators and prevent them from counterattacking. When the time came, it would be no problem to kill the Tao St. Palace's loose immortals. Let's see if I can kill you or not, Lin Feng sneered. Then he waved his hand. Whoosh, light flashed, and powerful treasures were summoned by Lin Feng. Dozens of powerful treasures floated around Lin Feng. At the same time, the ruler's armor was also activated by Lin Feng, protecting Lin Feng's body. When the Tao St. Palace's loose immortals saw Lin Feng use so many treasures at once, their eyes almost popped out. Lin Feng had taken out an extremely powerful treasure and was using it to fight against him. That was what Lin Feng had guessed. However, the reality was completely different from what he had imagined. Lin Feng had taken out dozens of powerful treasures. Moreover, the auras emitted by these treasures were extremely terrifying. Some of the auras emitted by the treasures shocked the Tao St. Palace's loose immortals. This was because he felt an aura that was close to the heavenly Tao infinite diagram from some of the treasures. Actually, Lin Feng's 4 stone swords were of an extremely high level. If all 36 stone swords were gathered, even ancient weapons might not be a match for 36 stone swords. For example, Lin Feng's Bell of Hell, Sky Drum, and other treasures might not be at the level of ancient weapons, but they were probably quite close. Lin Feng had so many heaven-defying treasures, and Lin Feng could multitask these treasures. How would the Tao St. Palace's loose immortals dare to continue fighting? He turned and fled, but Lin Feng had already activated dozens of powerful treasures to attack the Tao St. Palace's loose immortals. The Tao St. Palace's loose immortals condensed a starry sea world to block the attacks of Lin Feng's treasures. However, the starry sea world was destroyed in an instant. Then dozens of powerful treasures attacked the Tao St. Palace's loose immortals. The Tao St. Palace's loose immortals took out an ancient defensive shield to block the attacks of the treasures. The shield was destroyed, and the Tao St. Palace's loose immortals were sent flying. With a pung sound, half of his body directly exploded, suffering extremely serious injuries. Chapter 4272. He was severely injured. This Tao St. Palace itinerant immortal's combat power was probably not even 20 to 30% of his peak. Lin Feng sneered. Remember, if you have the chance to be a good person in your next life, be a good person. Don't think that you can kill and steal without fear just because you're strong. In this world, there's always someone better than you. There will always be someone you can't afford to offend. As soon as he finished speaking, dozens of powerful Dharma treasures attacked the Tao St. Palace itinerant immortal again. Kid, who do you think you are to lecture me? If you didn't have that immortal state body double and so many powerful Dharma treasures, do you think you could be my match? Even if I die, I'll drag you down with me. The Tao St. Palace itinerant immortal roared angrily. Clearly, he couldn't accept losing to Lin Feng. But he also knew that there was nothing he could do. He couldn't escape at all. The only thing he could do was drag Lin Feng down to hell with him. His body began to burn. As his physical body burned, his battle prowess also increased significantly. He clashed with Lin Feng's Dharma treasures as if he didn't care about his life. Those Dharma treasures were all sent flying by him. Then, he quickly charged toward Lin Feng. In midair, his body began to swell. He wanted to self-destruct. If an expert of his level self-destructed, he might really drag Lin Feng down with him. The Tao St. Palace itinerant immortal's face was filled with ferocity. Perhaps he thought he would definitely succeed, but soon he despaired. This was because an invisible force had instantly pierced through his chest. It was Lin Feng's cursing strength. When the cursing strength pierced through the chest of the Tao St. Palace's individual celestial cultivator, the Tao St. Palace's individual celestial cultivator was shocked. The Tao Saint Palace itinerant immortal immediately let out a shrill scream, because his body quickly dried up like a popped balloon. He had wanted to drag Lin Feng down to hell with him, but in the end, he did not succeed. The Tao Saint Palace's itinerant immortal expert was naturally very depressed. However, Lin Feng seized this rare opportunity and rushed forward. With a punch, the powerful punch landed on the body of the Tao Saint Palace's individual immortal expert. In an instant, his body exploded. Lin Feng kept this person's source energy and storage ring. This person's source energy was very beneficial to his cultivation. Lin Feng quickly left the place. The Tao Saint Palace soon learned of the death of the Tao Saint Palace's itinerant immortal expert, because his primordial spirit lamp was broken. That was why the people of the Tao Saint Palace were able to find out about it immediately. The death of this itinerant immortal caused a huge uproar in the Tao Saint Palace. This was an immortal. He was so strong, yet he had fallen just like that. This was truly inconceivable. And how many years had it been since an immortal had fallen in the Tao Saint Palace? But now, an immortal had fallen. The people of the Tao Saint Palace felt that this was the greatest humiliation to the Tao Saint Palace. The upper echelon of the Tao Saint Palace wanted to use a divination technique to deduce who had killed the Tao Saint Palace's itinerant immortal. However, the upper echelon of the Tao Saint Palace failed. Lin Feng's body was shrouded in a powerful fate. It was too difficult to find out Lin Feng's secret. Investigate. Investigate for me. I don't believe that we can't find out anything. There's no such thing as an impenetrable wall in this world. The upper echelon of the Tao Saint Palace said coldly they wanted to thoroughly investigate this matter. When the Tao Saint Palace mobilized a powerful force to investigate the death of the itinerant immortal in the sect, Lin Feng had already left the desolate planet and arrived at another planet. The planet that Lin Feng had just arrived at was also a desolate planet. He planned to continue cultivating in seclusion on this planet. Lin Feng checked the storage ring of the Tao Saint Palace's itinerant immortal. He found that there were all kinds of treasures in the storage ring. However, what shocked Lin Feng was that there was a holy devil fruit in the storage ring. When he saw the holy devil fruit, Lin Feng's face immediately showed an expression of ecstasy. This was really a pleasant surprise. Before this, Lin Feng had never thought that he would be able to obtain a holy devil fruit, including the holy devil fruit that Lin Feng had obtained before. Lin Feng now had 2 holy devil fruits on him. After Lin Feng adjusted his state, he swallowed the 2 holy devil fruits. Then, he began to absorb the medicinal power of the holy devil fruit. The medicinal power of the holy devil fruit was still very strong. However, the difficulty of Lin Feng's breakthrough from the 8th heavenly layer to the 9th heavenly layer was obviously different. The degree of difficulty was increasing in a straight line. When Lin Feng refined the 2 holy devil fruits, he was still unable to smoothly break through to the 9th heavenly layer. F*CK, I'm afraid I'll need at least 3 holy devil fruits to break through. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel a little depressed. The energy contained in the 2 holy devil fruits was already very heaven-defying. However, Lin Feng's accumulation was just too great. Although the 2 holy devil fruits couldn't help Lin Feng break through to his current realm, Lin Feng wasn't without other methods. Lin Feng still had the source energy of the Tao Saint Palace's itinerant immortal expert that he had yet to refine. The source energy of the itinerant immortal expert. It was very useful to Lin Feng. Lin Feng began to devour the source energy of the Tao Saint Palace's itinerant immortal expert. Soon, the powerful source energy was devoured by Lin Feng. Next, Lin Feng used the archaic dragonesque elephant art to gradually refine the source energy of the itinerant immortal expert into pure energy. Then, Lin Feng began to absorb the pure energy. As the pure energy was gradually absorbed by Lin Feng, Lin Feng's realm steadily rose. When all the pure energy was absorbed by Lin Feng, finally, Lin Feng completed his breakthrough. His realm had broken through from the 8th heavenly layer to the 9th heavenly layer. I finally broke through. Lin Feng's face broke into a smile. The holy devil fruit's effect was very shocking. However, the next breakthrough would require even more holy devil fruits. After Lin Feng came out of seclusion, he left the star where he was in seclusion and entered the starry sky world. Soon, Lin Feng heard a piece of news. It was said that many holy devils had gone to the blood refinement great world. There were 3 great worlds in the Tao Saint Starfield. One of them was the blood refinement great world. It was said that the blood refinement great world was shrouded in blood chi all year round. It was an extremely evil great world. Therefore, very few people went there. However, sometimes some cultivator groups would go to the blood refinement great world in search of opportunities. It was unknown why the holy devils had gone to the blood refinement great world. However, no matter what the reason was, the cultivators of the various factions had a strong desire to kill the holy devils. A large number of cultivators flew to the blood refinement great world. After receiving the news, Lin Feng also quickly flew to the blood refinement great world. Chapter 4273 is that the blood refinement great world. Lin Feng stood in the starry sky world and looked at the huge world in the distance. Around that world, the blood chi was tumbling, and the blood chi even formed a powerful wave of snow. Waves of blood spread out in all directions. Anyone who was hit by the waves of blood, if their cultivation wasn't strong enough, their physical body would crumble. It seemed that the blood refinement great world wasn't a place anyone could enter as they wished. Many cultivators flew toward the blood refinement great world, one after another. Lin Feng also flew toward the blood refinement great world. Lin Feng also saw many ancient starry sky ships in the surroundings. Some people felt that the blood chi outside the blood refinement great world was too terrifying, so they didn't plan to rely on their own strength to pass through the blood chi outside the blood refinement great world. Instead, they wanted to rely on ancient starry sky ships to pass through the blood refinement great world. Of course, this wasn't a bad idea. Many cultivators were searching for the whereabouts of the sacred demon, but it didn't mean that all of them aimed to kill the sacred demon. In fact, many cultivators were searching for the whereabouts of the sacred demon in order to sell the information to some major factions. This information was quite valuable. Of course, many cultivators were waiting to reap the benefits. There were also some cultivators who wanted to fish in troubled waters. Who knew they might be able to obtain the sacred demon's origin after it died? Or, if he encountered a heavily injured holy devil, he would kill it. However, no matter what these cultivators were thinking, their goal was to kill the sacred demon. Lin Feng passed through the blood chi outside the blood refinement great world and entered the blood refinement great world. Inside the blood refinement great world, the blood refinement great world was filled with blood chi. The void also emitted the smell of blood. It was naturally very unpleasant to smell. It was nauseating to smell it. When one walked on the ground, blood could even seep out of the ground. After seeing this scene, Lin Feng couldn't help but reveal a shocked expression. Could it be that the blood refinement great world had become like this because too many people had died here in the past? Was that why it had become like this? Lin Feng told the demon lord about his doubts. The demon lord said, "It's not what you think. The blood refining great world is indeed very strange, but we don't know why it's so strange. However, we can be sure that the blood-refining great world is hiding some amazing secrets. Lin Feng nodded. The demon lord's answer was beyond Lin Feng's expectations. At night, beasts were roaring in the forest. Lin Feng was resting next to a pond. He was sitting on a branch of a tree. He began to close his eyes and rest. If they found the holy demon, it would definitely be another bloody battle. Swish, swish, swish. At this moment, a dozen or so cultivators flew over from afar. The cultivators also landed beside the pool. We've just arrived at the blood-refining great world, so we don't know what's going on here. Let's rest here for the night. A rather young and steady young master said. The others nodded in agreement. Then, the group of people found a place to rest. Whoosh! A female cultivator flew towards a big tree. Just as she reached the branch of the big tree, the female cultivator couldn't help but jump in fright. Where did you come from, little thief? You actually dared to hide here. Take my palm. This female cultivator clearly had a shrewish personality and directly slapped towards Lin Feng. Her cold shout immediately startled the others. The other cultivators also rushed over. Lin Feng's wrist shook slightly and removed the strength of the female cultivator's palm. Then he gently pulled. The shrewish female cultivator directly sat in Lin Feng's arms. At this moment, Lin Feng clearly saw the female cultivator's appearance. She was wearing a fiery red dress. She was petite. Her face was extremely beautiful, but the expression between her eyebrows made people feel that this female cultivator was not to be trifled with. This was indeed the case. This female cultivator was indeed not to be trifled with. Her personality was very shrewish. Let go of me, you stinking rogue. After sitting in Lin Feng's arms, the female cultivator's pretty face turned pink. She was angry and embarrassed. Her other hand slapped towards Lin Feng, but Lin Feng's eyes were sharp and his hands were fast. He directly grabbed the female cultivator's wrist, making her unable to move. Lin Feng said, I was resting here, but you came here and disturbed my rest. I didn't even blame you, but you attacked me first, truly the villain complaining about the victim. Hurry up and let go of me. Otherwise, do you believe this great ant will chop you up and feed you to the dogs? This female cultivator wasn't someone who would admit defeat. She fiercely glared at Lin Feng. Her eyes were very big and watery, very beautiful. Such a beautiful girl was actually a tigress. Lin Feng couldn't help but have an impulse to conquer this woman. Aren't you a tigress? Soon, this young master will make you sing conquer. You fell into my hands and still dare to threaten me? I'm afraid you don't know my methods, right? I think you're just asking for a beating. I don't mind helping your family to teach you a lesson. I'll let you know that when you're outside, you shouldn't be so rash. Trouble comes from the mouth. One wrong word, and you might die a horrible death. Lin Feng pursed his lips and said. Then he pressed the female cultivator onto his legs and raised his hand as if he wanted to give her a few slaps. The female cultivator struggled violently. As she struggled, she scolded Lin Feng for being despicable and shameless. Seeing that Lin Feng's slap was about to land, another female cultivator in the group hurriedly said, This young master, this is all a misunderstanding. Although Sister Zishi is usually fierce, she's extremely kind. I hope that young master can be merciful. The female cultivator who pleaded was wearing a light blue long dress. She was tall and charming, and her skin was fair and beautiful. Not only was her figure perfect, her face was also breathtakingly beautiful. Ha ha ha. All right, I'll give this fairy some face and let you go a little chilly. Lin Feng said with a smile. Then he pinched little Chilly's beautiful face. This infuriated Little Chili Pepper. She opened her mouth and bit Lin Feng's palm. However, Lin Feng easily dodged it. Then, Lin Feng gently pushed Little Chili. Little Chili flew out. Then, she landed in the crowd. "I'll chop you up," Little Chili shouted fiercely. She took out a treasure sword and held it in her hand as she charged towards Lin Feng. However, she was stopped by the female cultivator, who pleaded on her behalf. "Sister Zishi, this young master has already been merciful. You have to control yourself." The female cultivator said. Qiu Zishi bit her lips, although she was extremely unwilling and wanted to teach Lin Feng a lesson. Lin Feng had easily defeated her, but Lin Feng had managed to subdue her effortlessly. There was a huge difference between their strength. Therefore, Qiu Zishi could only stomp her feet and put away her treasure sword. Chapter 4274. Lin Feng jumped down from the tree. He glanced at the group and asked, "Are you here to hunt sacred fiends as well?" "What? Can't we? If you can come, why can't we?" Qiu Zishi snorted coldly. Qiu Zishi was the youngest and the weakest among the group. The others were all stronger than the last. Thus, they were extremely confident in their strength. Lin Feng smiled and said, "Of course you can come. I didn't say I couldn't." The young man in the lead cupped his fists and said, "I am Wei Limo from the Undying Realm's profound God region. How should I address you? We've only met by chance. Why ask for my name?" Lin Feng said indifferently, then turned around to leave. Wei Limo couldn't help but frown. Very few people dared to look down on him like this. The others didn't look too happy either. They felt that Lin Feng was being too arrogant. "Young master, please wait a moment," the blue-robed female cultivator said. "What? Is there something else?" Lin Feng glanced at the blue-robed female cultivator and asked, "Young master, hunting sacred fiends alone is extremely dangerous. Why don't you come with us? We can take care of each other," the blue-robed female cultivator said. Lin Feng smiled and said, "I'm used to being alone. Thank you for your kind intentions. Fairy, if fate wills it, we'll meet again. We can find a chance to meet alone at dusk when the moon is high in the sky, and we can have a romantic date." When she heard that, the female cultivator blushed slightly. Lin Feng's words were too presumptuous. It was as if he was openly flirting with the female cultivator. After all, this world wasn't a particularly open one. Women were rather conservative, especially those from large clans and factions. They were even more conservative. Many of them had ugly expressions on their faces. Several of the cultivators who admired the woman in blue wanted to attack Lin Feng and teach him a lesson. However, the woman in blue stopped them. After Lin Feng left, a young man said, "Ling Yan, why did you stop us? That brat's mouth is really asking for a beating. He should be taught a good lesson." Little Chili Pepper also cried out and said, "That's right, that guy is too hateful. We should give him a good beating and let him know how powerful we are." The female cultivator called Ling Yan said, "That person, since he dared to come to the blood refinement world alone, he obviously has some ability. If we fight, who knows what will happen? Although we are cultivators from the Undying Realm, we can't underestimate the cultivators from other worlds. Especially now, after the great changes in the world, many cultivators from the divine stones have appeared. Those people are very terrifying. Try not to make enemies when you are outside." Little Chili Pepper obviously didn't agree with Ling Yan's words. She felt that Lin Feng wasn't particularly difficult to deal with. There were many cultivators who thought the same as Little Chili Pepper. It was just that no one said anything. The next day, Lin Feng finally saw a sacred devil. Thousands of cultivators were besieging the sacred devil. The sacred devil was suppressed. However, there were no loose immortals among the experts besieging the sacred devil. Therefore, those cultivators weren't able to cause fatal damage to the sacred devil. Lin Feng took out the black dragon sword. He used the man descending from the heavens, a sword that could kill immortals. Lin Feng's body turned into a dazzling sword chi and slashed towards the sacred devil. Although the sacred devil was powerful, facing the siege of thousands of cultivators, he was also very helpless. Many ants could bite an elephant to death. What's more, there were so many cultivators attacking together. Their attacks were so powerful, it was even more terrifying. Therefore, after fighting for a while, the sacred devil's magic power was greatly depleted. Its combat strength was far from its peak, and its body was also heavily injured. If the cultivators besieging the sacred devil were given more time, the sacred devil would die, without a doubt. At that time, the sacred devil would be refined into a sacred devil fruit. If there were no accidents, the cultivators who had joined forces to deal with the sacred devil would kill each other for the sacred devil fruit. This kind of situation was too common. Lin Feng was already used to it. However, Lin Feng had now made his move. These guys probably wouldn't have the chance to kill each other. The sword Qi Lin Feng turned into instantly split the sacred devil's body in half. Then, Lin Feng circulated his magic power and refined the sacred devil into a sacred devil fruit. Lin Feng also turned into his original body and collected the sacred devil fruit. Kid, who are you? Hurry up and hand over the sacred devil fruit. Otherwise, you will die without a burial place. Many cultivators shouted coldly. The surrounding cultivators were all from different factions. Some of the bigger factions had a few hundred or even a few thousand people. Some of the smaller factions only had a few dozen people. However, regardless of whether they were from the bigger or the smaller factions, they all looked at Lin Feng with extremely cold gazes. Lin Feng smiled and said, "Everyone, there is only one sacred devil fruit. I think it's better if it belongs to me. I am thinking for all of you. If all of you fight over the sacred devil fruit, many people will die." Hearing this, many people couldn't help but be speechless. How could this guy be so thick-skinned? Kill this kid. A group of cultivators roared with killing intent. Then they all attacked Lin Feng. Boom, boom, boom. Attacks that blotted out the sky and covered the earth bombarded Lin Feng. Feeling the terrifying power of those attacks, Lin Feng couldn't help but jump in fright. The attacks of so many cultivators were naturally terrifying. Lin Feng didn't intend to fight them head-on. He condensed a space-time gate and then entered the space-time gate. Then, he disappeared without a trace. The space-time gate also disappeared. The attacks of thousands of cultivators landed on empty air. After seeing Lin Feng snatch the sacred devil fruit and swagger away, thousands of cultivators couldn't help but roar in anger. Their killing intent surged, and they couldn't wait to cut Lin Feng into 1,000 pieces. Find him even if you have to dig 3 feet into the ground. Many cultivators roared in anger. In a forest a few hundred miles away, Lin Feng walked out of the void with a smile on his face. Being able to obtain a sacred devil fruit was a good harvest. In the distance, demonic qi churned and violent energy waves swept across the land. Lin Feng was shocked. Could it be that the sacred devil fruit had appeared? He quickly flew in the direction of the battle. When he arrived, Lin Feng saw that the forest was littered with corpses. He didn't know how many cultivators had died. A middle-aged cultivator killed those cultivators. The middle-aged cultivator then looked at Lin Feng, who had appeared. "I will kill you! I will kill you!" The middle-aged cultivator roared, and the demonic qi in his body surged. Then, he quickly pounced on Lin Feng. Chapter 42, 75. It's not a cultivator from the Saint Devil tribe, but it's a demonic cultivator. Lin Feng was shocked when he saw the demonic cultivator pouncing towards him. He thought it was a demonic cultivator from the Saint Devil tribe. He didn't expect that the person who appeared wasn't a demonic cultivator from the Saint Devil tribe. The terrifying existence that appeared here had a heaven-defying cultivation. Lin Feng couldn't help but be astonished by the qi he released. He was definitely a terrifyingly strong cultivator. His eyes were blood red, and the killing intent in his body was monstrous. Lin Feng didn't know who had provoked this person to cause him to have such killing intent. It was as if he hated the heavens, the earth, and all living beings. Lin Feng turned and flew away quickly. He didn't want to have a life and death battle with this terrifying existence. There wasn't anything to gain from it, and it was a complete waste of time and energy. If he wasn't careful, he might be killed. Lin Feng wanted to leave, but the demonic cultivator wasn't willing to let him go. He was extremely fast and actually caught up with Lin Feng. Then he sent a palm strike towards Lin Feng. Feeling the terrifying power of this palm strike, Lin Feng was shocked. This demonic cultivator's attack was too terrifying. Lin Feng didn't dare to be careless. He quickly activated the ruler's armor. The ruler's armor protected Lin Feng. At the same time, the power of the avatar and Lin Feng merged into one. The power of the ruler's armor and the golden dwarf merged into Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng's power reached its peak in an instant. Then Lin Feng sent a palm strike towards the demonic cultivator. Bang! Both sides collided fiercely. Lin Feng's power had reached its peak, but when his palm strike collided with the demonic cultivator, he still couldn't resist. Lin Feng still couldn't compete with that strong cultivator. He was blown away by the evil cultivator. What terrifying power! Lin Feng couldn't help but take a deep breath. This terrifying existence was simply too powerful. He managed to stabilize his body with great difficulty. Who are you? You killed so many people, but you did not devour their corpses to cultivate your demonic arts. Surely you are not killing people for the sake of cultivating your demonic arts. If that is the case, why did you kill so many people? Lin Feng couldn't help but ask. Even if it was a heinous devil cultivator, they would not kill people for no reason. Some demonic cultivators had slaughtered hundreds of millions or even billions of innocent people. The crimes they had committed were too numerous to be recorded. However, the reason why they did this was because they wanted to kill people to cultivate their demonic arts. However, the demonic cultivator in front of him didn't kill people for the sake of cultivating demonic arts. Moreover, he didn't collect the storage rings of those dead cultivators. This meant that he didn't kill people for money. Then why did he kill people? Was it purely a hobby? Some devil Dao cultivators might really kill people out of interest. However, Lin Feng felt that the demonic cultivator in front of him was not such a person. This was an extremely strong intuition, and Lin Feng had always trusted his intuition very much. Revenge. I want revenge. 2 of my poor children have been killed. They were so young. Did they do anything wrong? They died so miserably. I want to kill. I want to kill. I want to kill everyone. I want to avenge my poor children. The demonic cultivator roared. Tears of blood flowed out of his eyes again. He was incomparably sad. Even though some time had passed, every time he thought of his child who had died tragically, his heart would still be filled with monstrous killing intent. After he finished speaking, the demonic cultivator charged at Lin Feng again. Lin Feng quickly retreated. 2 figures appeared in his mind. They were a little boy who looked to be about 5 or 6 years old, and a little girl who was about the same age. Lin Feng clearly remembered that many cultivators thought they were from the Sacred Devil clan. Then, they launched a siege on their group, although they explained to everyone again and again that they were not from the Sacred Devil clan. However, the cultivators who besieged them did not listen to their explanation. In the end, those people were killed. Lin Feng saw the great battle from afar. The little boy and the little girl were stabbed to death by a cultivator. Although Lin Feng pitied them and even wanted to save them, Lin Feng was powerless because there were tens of thousands of cultivators who besieged them. If Lin Feng really rushed over, he would also lose his life. Of course, doing good deeds was worth advocating, but one had to act according to one's ability. One could not lose one's life for doing good deeds. Lin Feng could not do this. I saw how your son and daughter died. Before they died, they kept calling for Daddy to save me. Daddy, save me. Unfortunately, you did not appear. Seeing the terrifying existence charging at him again, Lin Feng shouted loudly. After hearing Lin Feng's words, the terrifying existence's face showed a painful expression. Why? Why did this happen? He roared hysterically as if he had gone mad. He kept hitting his head. He hated those who killed his children. He also hated himself. If he had appeared in time, his children would not have been killed. Seeing the demonic cultivator roaring like a madman, Lin Feng did not dare to hesitate and quickly rushed away. It just so happened that the demonic cultivator did not care about him. This was a great opportunity for him to leave. If he missed this opportunity, he might not be able to leave smoothly in the future. Lin Feng was very clear about this. Lin Feng quickly left. The demonic cultivator did not chase after him. Those words were naturally made up by Lin Feng. He just wanted to provoke the demonic cultivator so that he could use this opportunity to get rid of the demonic cultivator. Lin Feng flew for several hundred miles before letting out a long breath. At this time, he saw a large number of cultivators rushing forward. Lin Feng stopped one of them and asked. Only then did he know that there were 4 sacred demons in the mountain range ahead. At this moment, the 4 sacred demons were surrounded by many cultivators in the mountain range. A large number of cultivators were watching the 4 sacred demons. The news quickly spread. Therefore, the surrounding cultivators quickly rushed towards the mountain range ahead. They hoped to arrive in time and get a share of the loot. Lin Feng could not help but be shocked when he heard the news. For sacred demons, they could be refined into 4 sacred demon fruits. Lin Feng did not stop and quickly flew towards the mountain range where the 4 sacred demons were surrounded. Chapter 4276. When Lin Feng arrived at the mountain range, he discovered that a large number of cultivators had already gathered here. Those cultivators, they were densely packed. If there weren't 10,000 of them, there were at least 8,000 of them. At this moment, those cultivators were launching all kinds of attacks at the 4 holy demons in the mountain range. Moreover, there was a steady stream of cultivators coming from all directions. It seemed that the 4 holy demons were definitely going to die this time. Kill them. Let's kill these 4 guys, and then fight for the holy demon fruits with our own abilities. A cultivator shouted loudly. A large number of cultivators rushed into the mountain range, and their attacks became fiercer and fiercer. The battle also became more and more intense. Although the 4 holy demons were powerful, they couldn't win against the enemy's numbers. The enemy had so many people. If they really fought, it would be too tiring. The 4 holy demons wanted to break out of the encirclement, but they couldn't. The situation was becoming more and more unfavorable for the 4 holy demons. The 4 holy demons retreated step by step, retreating deeper into the mountain range. There was nothing they could do about it. If they didn't retreat, they would really be killed. However, They quickly retreated to the deepest part of the mountain range. They had nowhere else to retreat to. A large number of cultivators had surrounded them. They wanted to retreat. It was already as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Therefore, the current situation was extremely bad for them. The 4 holy demons could die at any time. Lin Feng also joined the battle against the 4 holy demons. He was waiting for the 4 holy demons to be killed, and then he would be the first to rush up and snatch their essences. Then he would refine the essences of the 4 holy demons into holy demon fruits. When he thought of this, Lin Feng became somewhat excited. Boom, boom, boom. All kinds of powerful attacks were launched at the 4 holy demons. The defensive magic treasures that the 4 holy demons had summoned began to emit cracking sounds. Once the defensive magic treasures of the 4 holy demons broke, the 4 holy demons would definitely die. Everyone couldn't help but become excited, because everyone would be able to kill the 4 holy demons soon. However, right at this moment, the 4 holy demons suddenly let out a sinister laugh. You're about to die, and you're still laughing? Let's see if you can still laugh when you die, without a burial ground, a cultivator sneered. Keek, it's you guys who are about to die. A bunch of self-righteous guys. Soon, you'll all go to hell, a Saint Devil said sinisterly, just as he finished speaking. In an instant, runes intertwined, each of them containing an unimaginably terrifying power. Those runes completely sealed off the surrounding mountain range. Oh no, we've been tricked. Many cultivators' expressions changed drastically. Only now did they realize that they had been tricked. Before the 2 holy demons were forced to retreat, it was because he had lured everyone in and then lured them into a trap. Now that everyone had been lured into a trap, many people felt that the situation was extremely bad. The trap here was absolutely terrifying. Many cultivators began to attempt to break out of the encirclement. All kinds of divine abilities were unleashed, and all kinds of magic treasures were brought out. All of them charged towards the runes. Bang, bang, bang. The terrifying attack slammed into the runes. It was at this moment that something terrible happened. The divine abilities were instantly devoured by the runes. When the magic treasures came into contact with the runes, their luster immediately dimmed. Their spirituality was greatly reduced, and their power was greatly reduced. Following that, numerous blood-red rays of light shot out from the runes. The power of those blood-red rays was extremely shocking. Any cultivator who was swept by the blood-red rays directly disintegrated. They died miserably on the spot. A large number of cultivators died. Heavens, there's a trap inside. Let's quickly escape. Many cultivators cried out in horror. Those cultivators rejoiced that they had come too late and did not enter the mountain range. If they had come too early and entered the mountain range, at this moment, they would probably have died without a burial ground. The cultivators in the periphery quickly left. The cultivators trapped in the mountain range wanted to leave, but they were unable to. Those cultivators did not give up. They took out their defensive magic treasures to block the attacks of the blood-red rays. Then they gathered together and began to attack the powerful runes around them. When many cultivators attacked together, the effect was extremely good. Cracking noises could be heard from those restrictive spells. The restrictions seemed to be on the verge of shattering. This scene caused many people to see the hope of escaping. However, in the next moment, in the sky, blood-red energy balls descended one after another. The power contained within those blood-red energy balls was simply too terrifying. The blood-red energy balls directly exploded, and a destructive power erupted in the crowd. A large number of cultivators were instantly drowned by the destructive power that surged out after the blood-red energy balls exploded. Those cultivators died on the spot. It was a completely one-sided massacre. Lin Feng frowned. Were those runes set up by the 4 sacred demons? Even he had not noticed those runes before. It was clear that those runes were extraordinary. The 4 sacred demons were incomparably terrifying existences at their peak. They were indeed able to set up some unimaginable runes. Therefore, Lin Feng did not find it strange. The ruler's armor had already covered Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng was doing his best to block the attacks of the blood-red rays, although he was unable to completely disperse all of them. However, those blood-red rays that swept across Lin Feng's body did not cause any harm to Lin Feng. The ruler's armor dissolved the power of those blood-red rays. Lin Feng's face immediately revealed an expression of relief. The ruler's armor was indeed powerful. It was very difficult for those blood-red rays to harm him. Lin Feng did not head towards a crowded place because the 4 sacred demons were concentrating their power to deal with the cultivators gathered together. A large number of cultivators died, and the speed of their deaths was extremely fast. Those cultivators simply could not resist the terrifying power of the blood-red rays. Soon, the ground was littered with corpses, and those corpses were all shattered. Their deaths were too tragic. Some of the surviving cultivators loudly begged, hoping that the 4 sacred demons would let them live. However, the 4 sacred demons simply ignored these people. In the end, those cultivators who begged for mercy were all killed, other than the 4 sacred demons. Only Lin Feng was left alive. Nearly 10,000 cultivators had all died. The mountain range was littered with corpses. It was simply a mountain of corpses. It was truly too tragic. Brat, to be able to live until now, your methods are not ordinary. However, you are destined to become a ghost here. One of the sacred demons coldly said. The other 3 sacred demons looked at Lin Feng as if they were looking at a dead man. The 4 sacred demons continued to activate those terrifying runes. Numerous blood-red rays of light surged out from the runes and swept towards Lin Feng. Chapter 42, 77. Lin Feng had already experienced the terrifying power of the crimson rays. Now that the crimson rays were focused on Lin Feng, he had no choice but to be on guard against the terrifying power of the crimson rays. No one dared to underestimate the crimson rays. If they did, only death would await them. Lin Feng also didn't dare to underestimate the terrifying power of the crimson rays. When the crimson light shone on him, he couldn't help but take a deep breath. The power of the crimson rays made him feel a little scared. However, Lin Feng wasn't too worried. He swung the black dragon sword at the crimson rays. The crimson rays were blocked one after another. Even if some of the crimson rays swept past Lin Feng's body, they were all neutralized by the supreme treasure, the ruler's armor. After several rounds of attacks, the crimson rays were still unable to kill Lin Feng. When the 4 holy demons saw this, their expressions instantly turned ugly. Originally, the 4 holy demons had thought that they could easily get rid of Lin Feng. Who would have thought that the outcome would be like this? The 4 holy demons were naturally quite depressed. It seems that your methods are still a little lacking. Lin Feng pursed his lips. One of the holy demons sneered. Brat, are you so proud of yourself just because you blocked the crimson rays attacks? Don't forget that the 4 of us haven't even made a move yet. If we do, killing you will be as easy as crushing an ant. As soon as he finished speaking, the 4 holy demons closed in on Lin Feng. They wanted to surround and attack Lin Feng. They didn't care about their reputation. They only cared about whether or not they could kill Lin Feng. Lin Feng smiled coldly. Talismans appeared all around him. Actually, those talismans were also deployment spells. As for restrictions, they were a type of formation. However, the way some restrictions were constructed was slightly different from a formation. When the Crimson Rays were attacking the cultivators here, Lin Feng had been studying the runes here. Of course, time was needed to go from research to comprehension. Only when the four holy demons were about to surround and attack Lin Feng did Lin Feng successfully comprehend the mysteries of these runes. Lin Feng used the heaven-seizing technique to seize control of the Great Array. This was the inheritance of the celestial master Taoist. It was very powerful and overbearing. After a few attempts, Zhang Ziyan decided to try again. Finally, Lin Feng discovered that he had established a close connection with the densely packed runes around him. But violent fluctuations spread out from those runes, and then rays of blood-red light shone out. Every single beam of blood-red light contained unimaginably terrifying power. When the blood-red rays of light shone towards the four holy demons, the four holy demons were all stunned. The four holy demons' expressions abruptly changed. They originally wanted to besiege Lin Feng. Who would have thought that such a thing would happen? The four holy demons didn't know why these runes would attack them. This brat's methods are somewhat strange. Hurry up and seize control of the runes. One of the holy demons shouted in a deep voice. They hurriedly acted, wanting to seize control of the runes. However, they soon discovered that they had failed. Lin Feng had seized control of the runes around him. As the successor of the celestial master Taoist, once Lin Feng seized control of those runes, there was no way that the other party would be able to seize control of those runes. After failing to seize control of the runes, the four holy demons knew that they had no choice but to resist the attacks of the runes. Those blood-red rays of light were incomparably terrifying. Even the four holy demons had to be careful when dealing with them. Under the attack of the blood-red rays of light, nearly 10,000 cultivators were killed in an extremely short period of time, except for Lin Feng. From this, one could see how terrifying those blood-red rays of light were. Although the four holy demons had wanted to lure everyone into the mountain range, the injuries on their bodies were real. After being besieged by so many cultivators, they had consumed a lot of energy. Their current battle strength couldn't be compared to when they were at their peak. Facing the densely packed attacks of the blood-red rays of light, it was quite strenuous for them to resist. Moreover, blood-red balls of light would fall from the sky from time to time. The blood-red rays of light were a normal attack, while the blood-red balls of light were a higher level of attack. Once the blood-red balls of light fell, they would erupt with extremely terrifying power. It would make one's expression change. The four holy demons were sent flying by the exploding blood-red balls of light. At the very beginning, they were still able to resist. However, after more than 10 waves of blood-red rays of light and blood-red balls of light, the four holy demons gradually couldn't resist anymore. Their injuries became more and more serious, and their bodies were dripping with blood. This made the four holy demons go crazy with hatred. Arrogant and powerful people like them were actually forced into such a sorry state by Lin Feng. Now, the four holy demons wanted nothing more than to cut Lin Feng into pieces. However, they knew that they were under someone else's roof, and they had no choice but to lower their heads. Now wasn't the time to fight to the death with Lin Feng. The best way was to make peace with Lin Feng. Brat, there's no need for us to fight to the death, right? Although the four of us are being suppressed, if we fight to the death, the power we can erupt with is not something you can imagine. Why don't we sit down and have a good talk? If you let us go, we can give you endless treasures and even powerful inheritances. Isn't that a good suggestion? One of the holy demons said. Another holy demon added, the benefits in your hands are the most important. Everyone cultivates for the sake of improving themselves. There's no need to fight to the death. If you let us go, not only will you obtain these benefits, but you will also gain our friendship. Lin Feng laughed coldly. Tui, Who cares about your friendship? This young master will kill you and refine you demons into holy demon fruits to increase my cultivation. You guys are unforgivable evildoers. You want to live? You're daydreaming. Also, let me tell you something. If we fight to the death, the fish will die, but the net won't break. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng took out more than 10 powerful treasures, which emitted intense fluctuations. The treasures all flashed with light as they shot towards the 4 holy demons. After the treasures joined the battle, the 4 holy demons' situation became even worse. Fight to the death with him. The 4 holy demons roared. They knew that if this continued, they would die at Lin Feng's hands sooner or later. Thus, the 4 holy demons began to burn their blood essence to increase their battle strength. Then, they charged towards Lin Feng. Chapter 4278. After burning their blood essence, the 4 holy devils became even more powerful. They even condensed an energy armor on the surface of their bodies. The energy armor's defensive power was astonishing. When the blood-red light swept past them, it left a wound on their body. However, when the energy armor appeared, the blood-red light couldn't injure them at all. These guys were really terrifying. Clearly, they had begun to use their desperate methods. It had to be said that these holy devils were really powerful. After using their desperate methods, even Lin Feng was quite shocked. If it wasn't for the fact that the 4 holy devils were surrounded by nearly 10,000 cultivators, causing them to consume a lot of energy, their combat power would have dropped drastically. Even if Lin Feng could control the runes here, he probably wouldn't be able to deal with the 4 holy devils. Asterisk bang bang bang. Asterisk the 4 holy devils displayed their invincible might and sent powerful magic treasures flying. Then, they tried their best to avoid the blood-red light and energy attacks. They kept getting closer to Lin Feng. The 4 holy devils wanted to quickly reach Lin Feng's side and kill Lin Feng. Lin Feng knew that if the 4 holy devils got close to him, he wouldn't be a match for them. At that time, there was a high chance that he would be killed by the 4 holy devils. Lin Feng also knew what his advantage was. His advantage was his control over the runes here. In addition, he had many powerful magic treasures. What he needed to do now was to increase the distance between him and the 4 holy devils. Then, he would use the runes and magic treasures to deal with the 4 holy devils. This was the best way to deal with them once and for all. He definitely couldn't let the 4 holy devils get close to him. If the 4 holy devils got close to him, it would be too disadvantageous for him. Lin Feng recalled 2 magic treasures because he planned to use the 1 Qi into 3 pure ones and 12 domineering magnetic fields. Lin Feng could now multitask. If he wanted to use other methods, he wouldn't be able to control so many magic treasures. After Lin Feng recalled the 2 magic treasures, he immediately used the 1 Qi into 3 pure ones. His body split into 3. Then his true body and his 2 clones all displayed 4 layers of domineering magnetic fields. A total of 12 domineering magnetic fields stacked together, forming an unimaginable restrictive force and pressure. Domineering. When the 12 domineering magnetic fields enveloped the 4 holy demons, the 4 holy demons' expressions suddenly changed. They were all experienced and knowledgeable people. Now that they felt the domineering aura gushing out from Lin Feng's body, they were all shocked. They had never felt such a terrifying domineering aura. Their bodies were greatly suppressed, and it was extremely difficult for them to move. Moreover, their battle prowess had been weakened by at least 30 to 40%. This caused the 4 holy demons' expressions to become incomparably ugly. Originally, they had wanted to quickly approach Lin Feng and surround Lin Feng. They killed Lin Feng as fast as they could, but who would have thought that they couldn't even get close to Lin Feng? At this moment, powerful magic treasures under Lin Feng's control shot towards the four holy demons. Apart from Lin Feng's powerful magic treasures, blood-red rays of light and energy continued to wildly attack the four holy demons. After being enveloped by Lin Feng's 12 domineering magnetic fields, the four holy demons' speed and battle prowess had greatly decreased. Therefore, they were completely unable to contend against these terrifying attacks. Bang, 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 bang. The four holy demons were sent flying, and who knew how many bones in their bodies were broken, they spat out mouthfuls of blood and roared continuously. The four of us have dominated the world. How can we die in your hands? One of the holy demons roared, unable to accept the fact that they had lost to Lin Feng. An ant like you didn't even have the right to kneel and greet us in the past, the second holy demon said coldly. He was very arrogant. Even though the situation was so bad, he was still full of contempt for Lin Feng. It had to be said, this guy was really arrogant. Lin Feng sneered. Are you still living in a dream? This is no longer your era. If I were you, I'd rather escape from the forbidden god world and find a place to cultivate. Yet, you people came to a place like the Tao Saint Starfield to kill people without any restraint. You're just seeking death. As Lin Feng spoke, various attacks continued to bombard the four holy demons. Combine to deal with this kid. The third holy demon said, All right, then combine. Use your strong estate to deal with him. The fourth holy demon said. Demonic energy surged from the four holy demons' bodies, and then the demonic energy enveloped them. Roar, roar, roar. After combining, the four holy demons became one holy demon. After combining, their bodies became extremely huge. They were at least 10 meters tall, and their auras were terrifying. Kid, let's see how you die later. After combining, the four holy demons roared. Their battle prowess had indeed increased greatly. Under the cover of Lin Feng's 12 magnetic fields, they regained their original speed. Moreover, their attacks became even more powerful. Powerful demonic energy swirled around their fists. With a punch, they shattered Lin Feng's treasures, as well as the many blood-colored rays of light and energy. They walked step by step toward Lin Feng, a ferocious expression on their faces. Lin Feng couldn't help but sneer. So what if they combined? There was nothing to be afraid of. Lin Feng stepped forward in the void and began to chant an incantation. O mighty Tao of Destiny, please descend with the power of destiny. Let this lowly creature who blasphemed destiny receive the punishment he deserves. As soon as Lin Feng's voice fell, the power of destiny descended and bombarded the four holy demons. The combined bodies of the four holy demons instantly separated again. No, why is this happening? The four holy demons roared in horror. They couldn't believe what had just happened. They couldn't accept what had just happened. They had placed all their hopes on combining, but now all their hopes had been extinguished. Lin Feng launched an even more powerful and violent attack. After an hour, the four holy demons couldn't withstand Lin Feng's attacks anymore. In the end, they were killed by Lin Feng. Lin Feng refined their source energy into 4 holy demon fruits. This was the 5th holy demon fruit that Lin Feng had collected. Lin Feng put away the 4 holy demon fruits and quickly left this place. Lin Feng didn't notice that the blood of the dead cultivators was constantly flowing out of their bodies. Then their blood was sucked dry by the earth. Their corpses quickly turned into dried corpses. Chapter 4279. I've already collected 5 Saint Devil Fruits. I wonder if I can break through to the 10th heaven of the Emperor Realm with the help of these 5 Saint Devil Fruits. Lin Feng could not help muttering to himself. He felt that these 5 fruits might not be able to help him complete the breakthrough. This was because when Lin Feng broke through to the ninth heaven of the Emperor realm, he had consumed 2 Saint Devil fruits and a bodiless celestial's origin to finally break through. It was obviously more difficult to break through to the 10th heaven of the Emperor realm. Therefore, breaking through to the 10th heaven of the Emperor realm was definitely as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Therefore, Lin Feng felt that 5 Saint Devil fruits were not enough to help him break through to the 10th heaven of the Emperor realm. It seemed like he had to continue collecting more Saint Devil fruits. There were still many cultivators who came to the blood refinement great world. Lin Feng heard a lot of news, such as someone obtaining a Saint Devil fruit and breaking through to a certain realm. There was a lot of news like this. On this day, a big piece of news spread throughout the blood refinement great world. The crown prince of the Dao Saint Palace, Di Jue, was about to break through to the bodiless celestial realm. This news was simply earth-shattering. Lin Feng had met the top genius of the Dao Saint Palace, Di Jue, before, so he knew how terrifying Di Jue was. However, Lin Feng had never met Di Jue before. In fact, it was his first time hearing the name Di Jue. Now, countless cultivators were talking about Di Jue. Lin Feng stopped a few cultivators, intending to ask about Di Jue. The few cultivators who were stopped by Lin Feng had a respectful expression on their faces when they sensed the powerful aura in Lin Feng's body. Is Di Jue very powerful? So many people have been talking about him recently. Lin Feng asked. A cultivator said, "Of course Di Jue is powerful. This person, he has only cultivated for 180 years. Yet he's about to break through to the bodiless celestial realm. From this, you can see how terrifying he is." What? 180 years of cultivation? Lin Feng's face was filled with disbelief. Di Jue was too heaven-defying. Lin Feng had been practicing cultivation for 140 years already. Lin Feng's cultivation speed was about 40 years apart from Di Jue's. Lin Feng's cultivation speed was already in defiance of the natural order. He had never thought that Di Jue's cultivation speed would also be in defiance of the natural order. It was truly inconceivable. Di Jue was definitely an unimaginably terrifying existence. The cultivator continued to say, "Rumor has it that when Di Ju was at the 10th heaven of the Emperor realm, he was able to fight against an itinerant immortal expert without losing. He's able to fight someone who's several levels higher than him. This shows how terrifying he is." Lin Feng also found it unbelievable. If what the cultivator said was true, then Di Ju should be a monstrous genius on the same level as him. However, due to Di Jue's age advantage, he temporarily shook off Lin Feng. He could not imagine how heaven-defying Di Jue's combat strength was. Where did this guy come from? Lin Feng could not help but ask. Di Jue's talent was so heaven-defying that he definitely had an extraordinary origin. I heard that Di Jue is an expert who walked out of the Divine Stone. He was only 16 years old when he walked out of the Divine Stone. The speed of his cultivation base's improvement is just too fast. It's just that the outsiders don't know his exact origin. However, it's said that the immortals who walked out of the Divine Stone in the Dao Saint Palace are very respectful to Di Jue. Di Jue also calls himself the Crown Prince. His identity is incomparably noble. Therefore, the outside world speculated that Di Jue's identity is very likely to be the descendant of a supreme expert in the history of the Dao Saint Palace. One of the cultivators said. Another cultivator said, hatefully, "This Di Jue is not a good person. He built the myriad immortal palace and collected a large number of beauties for his pleasure. Who knows how many people can't wait to kill him." Why? You hate him a lot. Lin Feng looked at the cultivator in surprise. He noticed that the cultivator was gnashing his teeth when he talked about Di Jue. Moreover, his eyes were filled with killing intent and hatred. Hate. Of course, I hate him. My fiancé was taken away by him. However, my clan, we can't fight back. It's really a great shame, the cultivator said while gnashing his teeth. Zhang Ming, stop talking, several of his companions hurriedly said. As the saying went, trouble comes from the mouth. Even if there was hatred in their hearts, they could not easily say it out loud. Moreover, they did not know Lin Feng's identity. The cultivator called Zhang Ming regained his senses. His face could not help but turn pale. If these words were to reach Di Jue's ears, with Di Jue's ruthless character, let alone him, even his clan might be annihilated. We'll take our leave first. The group of cultivators did not dare to stay any longer. They cupped their fists and left quickly. The matter of Di Jue's heavenly tribulation caused a huge commotion. Many cultivators went to watch Di Jue's heavenly tribulation. Lin Feng was not interested in watching other people's heavenly tribulation. 1 month later, Lin Feng saw a cultivator wielding a heavenly halberd fighting a sacred devil. The cultivator wielding the heavenly halberd was like a heavenly emperor descending to the world. A light strike from the heavenly halberd in his hand seemed to be able to pierce through heaven and earth. Any sacred devil was extremely terrifying. The sacred devil that was fighting the cultivator, wielding the heavenly halberd, was also extremely powerful. However, the sacred devil could not withstand the opponent's attack. Poof! The cultivator, wielding the heavenly halberd, seized an opportunity and directly pierced the sacred devil's chest. The sacred devil. It immediately let out a shrill scream. The cultivator, wielding the heavenly halberd, lifted the sacred devil into the air and suddenly shook his right hand. The sacred devil's body was torn into pieces on the spot. It died a horrible death. Many people could not help but suck in a breath of cold air when they saw this scene. That was a sacred devil. The cultivator, wielding the heavenly halberd, did not even take 10 moves to kill the sacred devil. Heaven-defying. This was too heaven-defying. Who is he? Someone asked, wanting to know the young man's identity. Such a terrifying figure was so heaven-defying. He must have an extraordinary identity. Lin Feng also wanted to know who that guy was. He was too terrifying. He's Di Jue, the crown prince of the Dao Saint Palace, Di Jue. Someone said. Many people could not help but suck in a breath of cold air when they heard that. Many cultivators had heard of Di Jue's great name. However, they had never seen Di Jue before. Today, they finally saw him. Di Jue was indeed too terrifying. He was like an immortal god. He was so powerful that people could not help but be aghast. Anyone who faced such a powerhouse would feel endless fear in their heart. Chapter 4280. As expected of the crown prince of the Dao Saint Palace. He's just too powerful. Moreover, it seems like he has already broken through to the bodiless immortal realm. That's right. For an expert like Di Jue to break through to the bodiless immortal realm, I wonder how terrifying his combat strength is. Don't tell me he can deal with those human immortal realm experts. Everyone was discussing Di Jue, and they were all deeply shocked. Di Jue was indeed too powerful. He was so powerful that everyone could not help but be aghast. Currently, in the eyes of countless people, Di Jue was definitely a godlike figure. He stood there. He was eternal and immortal. Lin Feng raised his brows slightly. Di Jue was indeed more terrifying than any of the geniuses he had seen before. For example, Lin Feng felt that Gong Zinya, Gong Ziyu, Netherchild, Huangfu Qintian, and the other geniuses were not comparable to Di Jue. if he did not use the power of his external incarnation. Lin Feng knew he was definitely not a match for Di Jue. This was because Di Jue was a genius who was similar to him. However, Di Jue had cultivated for a few decades longer than Lin Feng. His cultivation base was much higher than Lin Feng's. This was Di Jue's huge advantage. Although Lin Feng could challenge those with higher cultivation bases, a genius like Di Jue was obviously an exception. Lin Feng could not challenge a genius like Di Jue. If I combine the power of my external incarnation, Overlord's armor, and the Golden Dwarf, I wonder who will emerge victorious between me and Di Jue. Lin Feng muttered to himself. Of course, if Di Jue also had an external incarnation or a technique to increase his strength, it would be even more difficult to deal with him. Lin Feng was also very clear about this. He was definitely an existence, so terrifying that no one would be willing to provoke him. Di Jue refined the origin source of the dead Saint Devil into a Saint Devil fruit before putting it away. Then he walked into the distance. Soon, Di Jue disappeared from everyone's sight. Di Jue will definitely become a true immortal in the future. A true immortal is an extremely rare powerhouse even in the era of titled gods. With Di Jue's innate talent, once he becomes a true immortal, he'll definitely be an existence that shakes the heavens. Many people were exclaiming and sighing with emotion. Even though Di Jue had already left, the focus of everyone's discussion was still Di Jue. How great would it be if I could become Di Jue's woman? I heard that Di Jue likes to collect beauties the most. I wonder if he will take a fancy to me. I also want to become Di Jue's woman. Although he has 3,000 beauties in his harem, I don't mind becoming one of them. Many female cultivators also began to discuss. This world was originally a male-dominated world. Although there were also top-notch experts among the female cultivators, there were too few of them after all. In a patriarchal world, powerful men were too attractive to women. For example, the myriad immortal palace established by Di Jue was filled with beauties. Some of the beauties were snatched away by Di Jue after he took a liking to them. Some of the beauties were taken over by Di Ju through various threats and promises. However, there were also some beauties who took the initiative to throw themselves at him. This was because Di Jue was simply too powerful. Since ancient times, beauties loved heroes. Although Di Jue could not be considered a good person or a hero, he was so powerful despite his young age. With his noble background, he was definitely an ambitious and ruthless character. After Di Jue left, the surrounding cultivators gradually dispersed as well. Lin Feng, on the other hand, continued to search for the whereabouts of the sacred devils. Lin Feng estimated that if he could obtain 8 or 9 sacred devil fruits, he would be able to make another breakthrough in his cultivation base. Currently, Lin Feng had 5 sacred devil fruits in his possession. He still needed to kill 3 or 4 more sacred devils before he could obtain them. The blood refinement starfield was not peaceful. This was the place where the sacred devils gathered. Therefore, many cultivators were attacked by the sacred devils, and a large number of cultivators were massacred. Lin Feng saw many dried corpses. He checked the dried corpses in the mountain forest and found that the blood of the cultivators had been sucked dry. All the dead cultivators had their blood sucked dry. Was this done by the sacred devils? Lin Feng could not help but frown. He felt that something was amiss. Currently, cultivators from the starry sky world were still constantly entering the blood refinement starfield. The cultivators who could enter the blood refinement starfield were usually very powerful. Their flesh, blood, and soul essences were extremely powerful and played a crucial role in a cultivator's cultivation. It would not be a big deal if the sacred devils had simply absorbed the cultivator's blood. However, if the sacred devils had not absorbed the cultivator's blood, this matter would be terrifying. Lin Feng frowned. He felt that it was indeed strange that these cultivators had turned into dried corpses after they died. Was there a deeper reason behind this? Of course. Perhaps it was just as he suspected. There was a deeper reason behind this matter. However, these were not things that Lin Feng should be thinking about right now. Moreover, Lin Feng could not be bothered with these things. What he needed to do now was to kill as many sacred devils as possible and refine them into sacred devil fruits. He would then refine the sacred devil fruits to break through his cultivation base. If something terrible really happened to the blood refinement great world, he would just have to pat his, and leave. More and more sacred devils appeared. A large number of sacred devils were killed. Of course, many cultivators were also killed by those sacred devils. 500 miles away, a large group of cultivators was besieging 3 sacred devils. These cultivators were a temporary alliance formed by the 3 groups of cultivators. One of the forces was actually the group of cultivators from the undying realm that Lin Feng had seen before. The blue-robed female cultivator was called Ling Yan, and the shrewish female cultivator was called Qiu Zishi. There was also the young master leading the group called Wei Limo. The strength of these people was not ordinary. Together with the other 2 groups of cultivators, they launched wave after wave of attacks against the 3 sacred devils. The 3 sacred devils gradually lost their strength and were unable to break out of the encirclement. In the end, the 3 sacred devils were killed by these people, and the cultivators of these 3 forces each collected a sacred devil's essence. Then, they refined the sacred devil's essence into a sacred devil fruit. Next, they put away the sacred devil fruit. It was likely that they would wait until the end to distribute it. Just as these people were about to search for the other sacred devils, devil chi suddenly covered the sky in the distance. A sacred devil flew over. Just in time, the group of people sneered. They flew towards the devil chi in the distance. The devil chi bombarded the dozens of cultivators. Bang, bang, bang. The cultivators collided with the surging devil chi, and one by one, they were sent flying. Their faces turned pale. The rolling demonic aura was simply too terrifying. There was definitely an extremely powerful sacred demon within the demonic aura. Not good. The cultivators' faces changed drastically. They turned around and fled, but the devil chi spread out and enveloped the dozens of cultivators, trapping them in the devil chi. Sensing the terrifying atmosphere of coercion radiating out from the demonic energy, the cultivators there could not stop themselves from revealing looks of shock. Chapter 42:81. Everyone, be careful. An extremely powerful sacred demon will definitely appear. However, as long as we work together, we will definitely be able to overcome this crisis together. A beautiful woman said in a deep voice. This beautiful woman belonged to one of the 3 major factions. Moreover, she was the leader of this faction. The faction that the beautiful woman belonged to also came from the undying realm. As for the 3rd faction, they were from the Tao Saint Starfield's misty cloud planet. There were many subimmortal cultivators in these 3 factions. Therefore, their strength was extremely powerful. In addition, they had many Dharma treasures on them. Their battle prowess was even more terrifying. However, although they were quite powerful, at this moment, everyone knew that they were in big trouble. The sacred demon in the demonic chi was too powerful. In the demonic chi stood a sacred demon that was more than 3 meters tall. This sacred demon's aura was extremely terrifying. These sacred demons also had differences in strength. For example, The first sacred demon that Lin Feng had killed previously had the power of time and space. This sacred demon was one of the more powerful sacred demons. Other than this burly sacred demon, there were 7 other powerful sacred demons standing in the demonic chi. They coldly looked at the cultivators of the 3 major factions. Kill them all. Leave no one alive. The leading sacred demon waved his hand and gave the order. The relationship between these sacred demons and the cultivators of the various factions was one of mutual hunting. Both sides treated each other as prey. As the saying went, only the fittest would survive. Whoever was stronger would have the last laugh. Those who were weak were destined to become the prey of these sacred demons. During this period of time, about 200 to 300 of these holy devils had perished. However, the number of cultivators who had died was even more. For example, when they attacked the 4 sacred demons, they had lost close to 10,000 cultivators. That was only the tip of the iceberg. All the cultivators who had died added up to at least 50 to 60,000 people. Of course, compared to the vast sea of cultivators, the loss of 50 to 60,000 people did not seem to be too serious of a loss. Cultivators from all over the universe were rushing to the undying realm from all directions. As the last starfield that led to the undying realm, the Tao Saint starfield had too many cultivators gathered here. It could be said that this place was full of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. Although these 3 forces were extremely powerful, they had no problem dealing with ordinary sacred demons. However, they were still lacking when compared to the leading sacred fiend. Moreover, this sacred fiend had brought along 7 powerful sacred fiends. The 7 sacred demons attacked the cultivators of the 3 major forces. Not long ago, the cultivators from the 3 great powers had fought against the other 3 sacred demons for a very long time. Thus, they had consumed quite a lot of energy. There was a huge gap between his combat strength and his peak. Now that he was facing the 7 holy demons, he was instantly suppressed. The leading sacred devil didn't even make a move to suppress the cultivators of the 3 great powers. The cultivators from the 3 powers tried to break out of the encirclement of the 7 great holy demons, but their efforts all ended in failure even though they had the advantage in numbers. But he was still unable to break out. Instead, it was the 7 holy demons who displayed their might. Puff, puff, puff. Ripping sounds rang out incessantly. As the ripping sounds rang out, one cultivator after another was killed. Those cultivators died extremely miserably. These sacred demons were all masters who killed without batting an eyelid. As time passed, more and more people died, and the situation of the cultivators from the 3 great powers became more and more difficult. 2 hours later, more than half of the cultivators from the 3 great powers had died. There were still more than 20 people left. Even those who were lucky enough to survive were all injured at this very moment. Now, everyone couldn't help but feel a deep sense of despair in their hearts. They couldn't see any hope of escaping at all. The strength of these sacred demons was truly too terrifying. Right at this moment, a cultivator flew over from afar. This cultivator was Lin Feng. Lin Feng was passing by this place. He had been searching for traces of the sacred demons all this time. After searching for a long time, he still couldn't find them. Who would have thought that he would actually encounter a group of sacred demons here? These sacred demons seemed to have formed a group and attacked together. There seemed to be fewer sacred demons who were alone. Lin Feng indifferently glanced at the cultivators who were being attacked. Lin Feng discovered that the people who were being attacked were actually the group of people from the undying realm that he had seen before. This made Lin Feng quite surprised. He didn't expect to see them again here. Those people clearly saw Lin Feng and were slightly stunned. "You fool! What are you still standing there for? Why aren't you running?" Qiu Zishi shouted loudly. She wanted Lin Feng to run away quickly. Previously, Qiu Zishi had shouted at Lin Feng to kill him. Qiu Zishi had a fiery temper, but in fact, Qiu Zishi's heart was very kind. So when she saw Lin Feng appear in this place, Qiu Zishi hurriedly reminded Lin Feng to quickly leave this place. At this moment, everyone else was thinking of a way to escape. Who would pay attention to Lin Feng? However, Qiu Zishi had done so. A small matter could often reflect a person's character. When the sacred devil leader saw Lin Feng, he was slightly surprised. He was very strong and could sense Lin Feng's powerful bloodline. The sacred devil's eyes instantly lit up. If he devoured Lin Feng's bloodline, it would be equivalent to eating an all-nourishment pill. Brat, die. The sacred devil leader directly flew towards Lin Feng. Seeing Lin Feng standing there without moving, Qiu Zishi thought that Lin Feng was scared silly. She continued to shout, "Hurry up and run. If you don't run, you'll be killed." Lin Feng didn't run. It wasn't easy to find so many sacred devils. Why would he run away? Not only did Lin Feng not run, but he also flew towards the sacred devil leader. After seeing this scene, Qiu Zishi, Wei Limo, Ling Yan, and the others all thought that Lin Feng had completely gone crazy. They didn't know how terrifying the sacred devil leader's cultivation was, but Lin Feng actually took the initiative to charge towards him. They admitted that Lin Feng's cultivation level was extremely high, but compared to the leader of the holy demons, he was still thousands of miles away. Ordinary sacred devils were basically at the subimmortal realm. In the eyes of Qiu Zishi and the others, Lin Feng's battle strength was at most on par with a subimmortal sacred devil. He was far from being a match for a subimmortal sacred devil. The sacred devils that appeared here were relatively stronger. Among the sacred devils that surrounded Qiu Zishi and the others, there were two first firmament-loose immortal sacred devils. The remaining 5 were subimmortal sacred devils. Although Qiu Zishi and the others didn't know what cultivation realm the sacred devil leader was at, they felt that he was definitely at the 4th firmament-loose immortal sacred devil. That was why his aura was so terrifying. Now that Lin Feng actually took the initiative to charge towards the powerful sacred devil, Qiu Zishi, Wei Limo, Ling Yan, and the others all thought that Lin Feng was courting death. This time, Lin Feng was doomed. Chapter 4282. Lin Feng didn't have the time to guess what others were thinking. He only wanted to kill these sacred devils and refine them into sacred devil fruits. He didn't care what others thought. Lin Feng knew how terrifying this sacred devil was, so he didn't hold back. His avatar, ruler's armor, and the golden dwarf's power all merged into his body. With such a powerful burst of power, the battle prowess he displayed was naturally heaven-defying. Besides, Lin Feng had also used the 9 heavens 10 earths supremacy skill, which was extremely powerful. Therefore, Lin Feng's battle prowess had soared to the peak. The sacred devil in the lead used the sacred devil immortal fist and punched at Lin Feng. The divine ability of this saint devil was also extremely powerful. Coupled with the fact that his cultivation level was high, the attacks he unleashed could be described as unimaginable. Bang! Under everyone's gaze, Lin Feng and the sacred devil fiercely collided. That tyrannical power spread out in all directions from the center of the collision of the two divine abilities. The void around the two of them collapsed, and a large amount of the void was constantly crumbling. This scene was truly inconceivable and appalling. The most unbelievable thing was that Lin Feng was completely fine after colliding with the sacred devil. How is this possible? Qiu Zishi, Wei Limo, Ling Yan, and the others all had expressions of disbelief. Lin Feng, such a young cultivator, had surprisingly managed to block the holy demon's terrifying attack. The two sides seemed to be evenly matched. How did Lin Feng do it? It was simply unimaginable. Even though they saw it with their own eyes, many people still found it unbelievable. Qiu Zishi, Wei Limo, Ling Yan, and the others were even more shocked than the beautiful woman and the others. They had crossed paths with Lin Feng before. Lin Feng had even flirted with Qiu Zishi and Ling Yan at that time. Some of them even wanted to teach Lin Feng a lesson, but they were stopped by Ling Yan. Only now did they realize how terrifying Lin Feng was. Lin Feng was so young, but the battle prowess he possessed made people involuntarily aghast. TSK, is that all you've got? If that was all he had, that's truly too disappointing. Lin Feng glanced indifferently at the leading holy demon. Upon hearing Lin Feng's contemptuous words, the leading sacred demon's eyes darkened slightly. He sneered and said, "Brat, you're too arrogant. The battle has just begun, yet you're already so arrogant. You'll be crying later." "The ignorant are fearless," Lin Feng said indifferently. The leading holy demon's mouth twitched violently. Lin Feng clearly didn't care about him at all. If he had taken him seriously, how could he have said such words? This made the holy devil leader quite angry. He was actually being looked down upon by a young human cultivator. It was simply a great humiliation. "Brat, you'll soon know how foolish your words are." The leading holy demon laughed sinisterly. A large amount of demonic energy surged out of his body. The demonic energy was extremely terrifying. The demonic energy surged, covering the sky and the sun. The leading holy demon's aura became stronger and stronger. His battle prowess was rising steadily. It seemed that this fellow hadn't used his full strength just now. Lin Feng raised his eyebrows. He had already expected this situation. However, Lin Feng was fearless. In fact, apart from his avatar, the ruler's armor, and the golden dwarf, Lin Feng had an extremely heaven-defying trump card. Lin Feng had never used it before. Lin Feng's trump card was the magic lotus. Although the demon spirit had only fused with the first world of the magic lotus, the power of the magic lotus had already reached the level of an itinerant immortal. Back then, Mose Tianzuan's cultivation was only at the subimmortal realm. After fusing with the magic lotus's power, he was already so terrifying. What about Lin Feng? If Lin Feng were to fuse with the magic lotus's power after fusing with his avatar, the ruler's armor, and the golden dwarf's power, at that time, Lin Feng's power would increase to an unimaginable level. It was simply unimaginable. At this moment, the leading holy demon displayed his strongest battle prowess. Meanwhile, Lin Feng began to fuse with the magic lotus's power. As the power of the magic lotus fused with Lin Feng's body, Lin Feng instantly felt the power in his body begin to increase crazily. This feeling was simply too great. "Brat, I'll let you have a taste of my ultimate move. Blood, will, immortal, slaying, / the leading holy demon's voice suddenly rang out. Then, a blood-red vortex condensed on his palm. That blood-red vortex contained an incomparably terrifying aura. That blood-red vortex seemed to be able to shatter heaven and earth with just a slight turn. The blood-red vortex's aura was simply too powerful. Sensing the blood-red vortex's aura, many people's souls couldn't help but tremble. The leading holy demon released his peak battle prowess. That blood-red vortex pierced through the void and rapidly slashed towards Lin Feng. Everyone couldn't help but hold their breaths. They didn't know if Lin Feng could withstand that blood-red vortex's attack. Everyone's eyes were focused on this peak battle. Even the two sides couldn't be bothered to continue fighting. All of them stopped and watched the battle between the two of them. Facing the leading holy demon's terrifying attack, Lin Feng couldn't help but sneer. Lin Feng used the flower blooms with a thought, sovereign's descent, ability. Lin Feng's body emitted a sovereign's aura. In that instant, many people were dazzled. They felt as if Lin Feng had turned into a holy emperor, mysterious and powerful. Lin Feng's fist directly swept across that blood-red vortex. Everyone saw that. The blood-red vortex, condensed by the leading holy demon, was actually shattered by Lin Feng's fist. Heavens, how is this possible? The other holy demons all revealed expressions of disbelief. They knew the leading holy demon's strength. He was a powerful fifth firmament loose immortal. Now, he had used his trump card with all his strength. However, this trump card was actually broken by a young cultivator like Lin Feng. This was too inconceivable. The holy demons simply didn't dare to believe what they were seeing. He's actually so terrifying. Qiu Zishi, Wei Limo, Ling Yan, and the others couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. The battle prowess Lin Feng displayed deeply shocked their hearts. It was as if monstrous waves had been set off in their hearts. Chapter 42:83. Lin Feng didn't stop after breaking the holy demon leader's attack. Lin Feng quickly rushed towards the holy demon leader. This was the best time for the other party to deal with him. Lin Feng quickly arrived in front of the holy demon leader, and then the 6 paths of reincarnation fist directly blasted towards the holy demon leader. The power contained in this punch was simply appalling. It was impossible to imagine just how terrifying the power of this punch was. The 6 paths of reincarnation fist was originally a heaven-defying ability, and Lin Feng's battle prowess had reached an unfathomable level after fusing with his avatar, the magic lotus, the ruler's armor, and the golden dwarf. Therefore, the current Lin Feng was simply too powerful. On the other hand, the holy demon leader's powerful ability had just been broken by Lin Feng, and he still hadn't regained his footing. Lin Feng had already rushed over. Lin Feng didn't give him any time to catch his breath at all. The holy demon felt an enormous pressure. Before this, he didn't expect Lin Feng to be so terrifying. Now, the holy demon didn't want to continue fighting with Lin Feng. He needed to take a breather. Moreover, it was indeed not a good time to fight Lin Feng head-on, because Lin Feng's aura was at its peak, and the holy demon's aura was suppressed by Lin Feng. It was simply too unwise to fight to the death with Lin Feng now. Facing Lin Feng's attack, the holy demon waved his hand, and a world appeared between him and Lin Feng. That world was a world of darkness. Although it didn't look particularly big, that world of darkness was integrated with the power of space-time. Therefore, the two of them were actually quite far apart. The holy demon leader wanted to use this world of darkness to block Lin Feng's advance. However, he was indulging in fantasy. The current Lin Feng had the aura to kill gods and Buddhas. No matter who tried to block him, it was useless against Lin Feng. Even the world of darkness that appeared in front of Lin Feng was useless against Lin Feng. Lin Feng punched out and instantly shattered the world of darkness. Then, Lin Feng quickly charged towards the holy demon leader. The holy demon leader's plan to break free from Lin Feng completely failed. He had no choice but to face Lin Feng's attack head-on. Of course, the holy demon leader still had terrifying moves that he hadn't used yet. That was his last resort. He wouldn't use it unless he had no other choice. But now, it seemed like he had no choice. Ancestor of all demons. Suddenly, the leading holy fiend shouted. Behind him, demonic qi started to surge violently. Within the demonic qi, the shadow of an expert appeared. This expert was like an immortal god. His aura was powerful and ancient, just like the ancestor of all demons. Who is summoning the great ancestor of all demons? The ancestor of all demons asked in a low voice. Then he opened his eyes. When he opened his eyes, millions of rays of demonic light shot out from his eyes. Although it was only a phantom, the strength of this ancestor of all demons was unimaginable. Many people's faces were filled with shock and emotion. That illusory figure was simply too powerful. At that moment, the holy demon leader piously said, "Great ancestor of all demons, it is your loyal servant who is summoning you. Great demon lord, please make your move and defeat that lowly human who dares to obstruct the rise of the holy demons." After the holy demon leader spoke, the phantom looked at Lin Feng. His eyes flickered with dense killing intent. "Lowly ant, you actually dare to obstruct the rise of the holy demons? Do you know that you have already committed a capital offense?" The phantom of the ancestor of all demons said coldly. Then he walked towards Lin Feng. A powerful pressure directly pressed down on Lin Feng. The aura of the ancestor of all demons was extremely powerful. If it were any other cultivator, they definitely wouldn't be able to withstand the aura of the ancestor of all demons. However, for Lin Feng, it wasn't difficult at all. Lin Feng's qi began to circulate. In an instant, that terrifying qi dispersed like smoke in thin air. It didn't affect Lin Feng in the slightest. Humph! The phantom of the ancestor of all demons seemed to have noticed that Lin Feng had dispelled his aura. Thus, he coldly snorted. Then, he stepped forward and walked towards Lin Feng. A large amount of demonic qi surged out of the phantom's body. The phantom of the ancestor of all demons blasted towards Lin Feng with a palm. A mysterious nation appeared in the palm of the ancestor of all demons. That mysterious nation seemed to be an ancient demon nation. When the phantom of the ancestor of all demons slammed down with his palm, the demon nation also flew out. The demon nation continued to grow bigger, bigger, and bigger. The demon nation directly enveloped Lin Feng. Lin Feng frowned slightly. He quickly retreated, trying to avoid being swallowed by the demon nation. However, Lin Feng wasn't able to do so. When the demon nation enveloped him, Lin Feng was instantly swallowed by the demon nation. Then, the demon nation continued to shrink until it was only 0.5 meters in diameter. Lin Feng was trapped in the demon nation. The demon nation floated above the phantom of the ancestor of all demons. The phantom of the ancestor of all demons began to refine the demon nation. It seemed that he wanted to refine Lin Feng, who was trapped in the demon nation, to death. After seeing this scene, Qiu Zishi, Wei Limo, Ling Yan, and the others' faces suddenly turned ugly. If Lin Feng was refined to death, they would die without a doubt. These people wanted to rush over to help Lin Feng, but they were stopped by the other sacred demons. There was no way for them to get close to the phantom of the ancestor of all demons. Powerful magic power enveloped the demon nation. The phantom of the ancestor of all demons kept refining the demon nation. However, at that moment, a peerless sword qi directly tore the demon nation floating above the phantom of the ancestor of all demons in half. That sword qi was the result of Lin Feng's black dragon sword. He had used the celestial descent skill, which could kill celestials. The sword qi's power didn't decrease. It continued to slash at the phantom of the ancestor of demons. At that moment, Lin Feng and the phantom of the ancestor of demons were too close. The two sides were so close that the phantom of the ancestor of demons couldn't resist the terrifying power of the sword qi at all. Buffed. The phantom of the ancestor of demons was cut in half by the sword qi formed by Lin Feng. Then, the phantom of the ancestor of demons vanished. The sword qi formed by Lin Feng continued to slash at the leader of the sacred demons. The leader of the sacred demons thought that Lin Feng was dead, for sure. Who would have thought that not only was Lin Feng fine, but he also broke his magic power? Seeing the sword Qi formed by Lin Feng slashing at him, the leader of the sacred demon's expression became extremely unsightly. He quickly retreated. At the same time, he took out a defensive magic treasure to block the sword Qi formed by Lin Feng. However, the sword Qi formed by Lin Feng suddenly disappeared. Lin Feng used the teleportation magic power to teleport himself. Lin Feng could multitask. He had no problem using all kinds of magic power at the same time. In the next moment, he appeared behind the leader of the sacred demons. Then, the sword Qi formed by Lin Feng slashed at the leader of the sacred demons. Chapter 42:84. This holy demon completely didn't expect Lin Feng to have such a powerful technique. He could teleport and kill people without them noticing. This technique could indeed have a miraculous effect in a big battle. Lin Feng's attack was extremely fast, and its power was also unimaginably strong. Of course, the holy demon leader was powerful enough. Although he didn't have eyes on the back of his head, he still sensed Lin Feng's appearance when Lin Feng appeared behind him. Of course, even though the holy demon leader sensed Lin Feng's appearance, it was extremely unrealistic for him to completely dodge Lin Feng's attack. The holy demon leader also knew this, so he didn't think about dodging Lin Feng's attack. If he blindly dodged, the situation would become even more troublesome when the time came. As the saying went, one wrong step would lead to many wrong steps. He couldn't continue dodging. Otherwise, he would be suppressed even more severely. Thus, the holy demon leader used a powerful divine ability. His body suddenly turned illusory. It was unknown what kind of technique this was. When Lin Feng's sword Qi quickly rushed over, it instantly slashed the illusory figure. The attack landed on the illusory body of the holy demon, but it was unable to cause any damage to the holy demon leader. This kind of method was really strange. The holy fiend leader had grasped too many shocking techniques. Thus, it wasn't easy to kill him after he completely unleashed his battle prowess. However, Lin Feng had his own ways. Lin Feng used the 1 Qi into 3 Pure Ones technique. Then, 12 layers of domineering aura overlapped and directly enveloped the holy demon leader. The holy demon leader's body had turned illusory, but when the 12 domineering magnetic fields enveloped him, the holy demon leader immediately returned to his original form. The pressure formed by the 12 domineering magnetic fields was really too strong. It was unrealistic to use the divine ability from before under the pressure formed by the 12 domineering magnetic fields. When the 12 domineering magnetic fields enveloped the holy fiend leader, it became somewhat difficult for him to move. His expression became extremely unsightly. He originally thought that he already had a certain understanding of Lin Feng's strength. However, as the battle continued, the leading holy demon finally realized that Lin Feng had one trump card after another. Moreover, his methods were so terrifying. Heaven-burning fury. Lin Feng's face revealed a cold expression. The 6 types of heavenly flames instantly compressed into a fireball, which emitted a terrifying power that could distort space-time. Then, Lin Feng took out the fireball. Whoosh! The fireball was extremely fast, and it flew towards the leading holy demon. Sensing the terrifying energy contained within the fireball, the leading holy demon's expression suddenly changed. His current situation was quite bad because Lin Feng's 12 domineering magnetic fields were restricting his body too much. This greatly reduced his battle prowess, and his movement speed was also greatly restricted. It was already too late for the leading holy demon to dodge the fireball, so he could only use his divine ability to resist Lin Feng's fireball. The leading holy demon's hands continuously formed seals, and he condensed a 7-colored energy ball. This divine ability was called 10,000 Spirit Technique. It was said that, at most, it could condense 10,000 different colors. This divine ability was very heaven-defying, but it was also very difficult to cultivate. Even someone as powerful as the leading holy demon could only condense a few different colors. From this, one could see how difficult it was to cultivate this divine ability. Bang! Bang! Lin Feng's 6-colored fireball and the 7-colored energy ball, released by the leading holy demon, instantly exploded, and then the destructive power collided violently. The power of heaven-burning fury was obviously stronger, and it directly dispersed the 7-colored energy ball's attack. Then, the energy from the 6-colored fireball's explosion sent the leading holy demon flying. Wah! The leading holy demon spat out a mouthful of blood, and his face became as pale as paper. That attack just now had caused him to suffer heavy injuries. Shock, astonishment, disbelief. Everyone looked at Lin Feng in disbelief. Lin Feng's combat strength was too heaven-defying. You disappoint me too much. If that's all you have, then I can kill you within 3 moves. Lin Feng looked indifferently at the leading holy demon. The leading holy demon was so powerful, but Lin Feng actually said that he could kill him within 3 moves. He was really arrogant to the extreme. However, no one felt that Lin Feng was arrogant, and no one felt that Lin Feng was arrogant because Lin Feng was really too powerful. Lin Feng had the qualifications to say that. What a domineering man. The beautiful woman, who also came from the undying realm, stared at Lin Feng with her beautiful eyes. Her beautiful eyes were full of splendor. The man in front of her had aroused her great interest. "Sir, we'll help you." The other 2 holy demons at the itinerant immortal level shouted loudly and quickly pounced toward Lin Feng. As for those subimmortal level holy demons, they did not make a move. With their strength, they were not enough to participate in such a big battle. Moreover, they still needed to look after the surviving cultivators of the 3 major forces. Kill him together. The leading holy demon said coldly. The leader of the sacred demons said coldly. After having 2 helpers, the Sacred Demon Alliance's Sacred Demon Alliance became even more powerful. His confidence was suddenly boosted. 3 itinerant immortals. Could it be that they could not deal with Lin Feng, the leading holy demon, and the other 2 itinerant immortal level holy demons did not think so? Lin Feng was indeed powerful, and they admitted that. However, if Lin Feng could fight against 3 holy demons by himself, this was purely a fantasy. It was impossible for such a thing to happen. Qiu Zishi, Wei Limo, Ling Yan, and the beautiful woman could not help but worry for Lin Feng. The 3 itinerant immortals besieged Lin Feng. Could Lin Feng still deal with the 3 itinerant immortals? Although Lin Feng had displayed powerful combat strength just now, Lin Feng had been fighting one-on-one with the leading itinerant immortal. But now, Lin Feng was fighting against 3 itinerant immortals by himself. This situation, it was really too dangerous. If the 3 lords attack together, that kid will definitely die. That's right. No matter how powerful that kid is, he definitely won't be a match for the 3 lords. The 3 lords might not kill him directly. Instead, they might capture him alive and torture him later. Hee, I'm really looking forward to seeing this scene happen soon. The group of holy demons began to discuss. Then, the group of holy demons let out a sinister and terrifying laughter. The laughter of those holy demons made one's hair stand on end. Chapter 42:85. Humph! Lin Feng looked at the 3 independent celestial cultivators who had joined forces to attack him. These 3 guys, their joint attack was naturally very terrifying. But so what? Lin Feng was still fearless. Lin Feng had mastered the 4 great immortal sutras and many supreme supernatural powers. Why would he be afraid of these people? Lin Feng began to operate the Great Wilderness Sutra. The Great Wilderness Sutra was definitely one of the supreme immortal sutras since ancient times. When the Great Wilderness Sutra was operated, Lin Feng's body emitted an indescribable aura. That aura seemed to be able to shock the world. With the operation of the Great Wilderness Sutra, the spiritual power in Lin Feng's body quickly turned into power of desolates. Power of desolates. This was an extremely terrifying power. It was supreme and could destroy everything. I am the desolate emperor. My fist can break the world. Suddenly, Lin Feng couldn't help but shout coldly. His voice was majestic, as if the ancient desolate emperor had descended to the world. It was said that in the Great Wilderness era, there were many strong people, and it was one of the most dazzling eras of this era. The ruler of the Great Wilderness era was the desolate emperor. Once the desolate emperor appeared, he looked down on the world. Who could compete with him? At that moment, Lin Feng was using the Great Desolation Scriptures, a peerless skill from the celestial scriptures. This was the first time that Lin Feng used the Great Wilderness Sutra against an enemy. Under normal circumstances, Lin Feng wouldn't use these immortal sutras against an enemy. What was an immortal sutra? Only the supreme immortal methods that immortals cultivated could be called immortal sutra. The power of immortal sutra was unimaginable, but the consumption of immortal sutra was also unimaginable, because when operating the immortal sutra, one's spiritual power would be consumed very quickly. Therefore, Lin Feng rarely used the immortal sutra against an enemy. But now, the three loose immortals were besieging him. Lin Feng no longer held back. Although Lin Feng's battle strength had increased to an extremely unimaginable level, his battle prowess was many times stronger than before. But the opponents were three loose immortals, who dared to underestimate the joint attack of three loose immortals. In words, you can despise them. However, in terms of actual actions, they had to be extremely cautious. They absolutely could not show any contempt towards them. Otherwise, he would be the unlucky one in the end. The power of desolates in Lin Feng's body instantly surged towards his arm. Then, Lin Feng punched out. Suddenly, the power of desolates surged out and condensed into a huge desolate's divine fist in the void. That incomparably huge desolation god fist contained the power to destroy the world. It instantly enveloped the three holy demons. The divine abilities of the three holy devils collided with Lin Feng's godly fist of famine. The attacks of the three holy demons were instantly shattered. Then, the godly fist of desolation ruthlessly smashed into the three holy devils. The three holy devils felt as if they had been struck by lightning. He was sent flying. Wow! The three holy demons spat out mouthfuls of blood. The two first firmament loose immortal saints were more seriously injured. Who knew how many of their bones had been broken by that punch? The leading saint devil was much stronger than them. Therefore, the situation was slightly better. It's too terrifying, too savage. Everyone watching the battle was stunned. Lin Feng's battle prowess was simply too strong. In their eyes, Lin Feng had become an invincible god. Run. The subimmortal holy devils sensed that the situation was far from good. Taking advantage of the fact that Lin Feng still had no time to deal with them, they turned and fled. Lin Feng summoned the primordial ancestral insect and Emperor Archaic. The primordial ancestral insect and Emperor Archaic immediately chased after the fleeing immortal-slaying holy devils. As for Lin Feng, he continued to deal with the three holy devils. O mighty Tao of reincarnation, manifest the wheel of reincarnation. Let the wheel of reincarnation send these evil beings to the endless depths of hell. O mighty Tao of karma, manifest the gate of karma. Let the gate of karma send these evil beings to the punishment they deserve. As soon as Lin Feng finished speaking, the wheel of reincarnation and the gate of karma appeared in the void, simultaneously summoning the wheel of reincarnation, and the gate of karma was one of Lin Feng's trump cards. This was a combination divine ability that Lin Feng had created himself. The wheel of reincarnation and the gate of karma complemented each other. Together, they would attack. The attacks they unleashed would be incomparably powerful and terrifying. Just like now, when Lin Feng summoned the wheel of reincarnation and the gate of karma at the same time, the wheel of reincarnation spun violently in the void. Every time it spun, it would explode with unimaginably terrifying power. The power of the wheel of reincarnation's rotation ruthlessly slammed into the three holy devils. The three holy devils were sent flying once more, their injuries worsening. "This kid is savage. Hurry up and leave," the leading holy devil said in a low voice, although he wanted nothing more than to cut Lin Feng into 1,000 pieces. However, Lin Feng's battle prowess was simply too strong. Such terrifying battle prowess. There was simply no way to resist. Rumble! At this moment, the gate of karma descended from the sky, suppressing the three holy devils. Bang, bang, bang. The three holy devils were sent flying by the gate of karma. Lin Feng used the great grappling technique and grabbed at the three holy devils. A huge energy palm condensed in the void and grabbed at the three holy devils. The leading holy devil quickly teleported several hundred meters away, dodging Lin Feng's grab. However, the other two holy devils weren't so lucky. They were caught by the huge palm condensed by Lin Feng's great grappling technique. Then, the palm suddenly exerted force. The two holy devils were instantly crushed into meat paste. Then, they were refined into holy devil fruits. Seeing this scene, the leading holy devil's face was filled with shock. He raised his speed to the limit, wanting to escape with his life. However, at this moment, a mysterious, ancient, powerful, and eternal illusory stone door appeared above him. That illusory stone door wasn't the gate of karma. It was the illusory gate of eternal life. Lin Feng had just summoned the illusory gate of eternal life to deal with the leading holy devil. After seeing the illusory gate of eternal life, the leading holy devil's face was filled with shock. He could feel the terrifying power contained within the illusory gate of eternal life. He wanted to teleport to dodge the attack of the illusory gate of eternal life, but the illusory gate of eternal life shattered the surrounding void. The leading holy devil was simply unable to dodge the attack of the illusory gate of eternal life. Therefore, the leading holy devil had no choice but to resist the attack of the illusory gate of eternal life. His body started to grow continuously. In an instant, he became a 100-meter-tall giant. Then, he consecutively launched 36 punches at the illusory gate of eternal life. However, the illusory gate of eternal life instantly broke through his attacks and ruthlessly slammed into the leading holy devil's body. Bang! Along with the sound of the violent collision, a loud bang was heard. The leading holy devil's body directly exploded. Lin Feng quickly flew over and refined the leading holy devil's essence into a holy devil fruit. Chapter 42:86. On the other side, the ancient ancestral insect and Emperor Archaic cooperated seamlessly. They displayed their might. The other 5 subimmortal holy devils were all killed. Lin Feng flew over and refined the 5 subimmortal saint devils into heavenly devil fruits. This time, Lin Feng collected 7 heavenly devil fruits, including the 5 heavenly devil fruits from before. Lin Feng now had 12 heavenly devil fruits on him. This made Lin Feng very happy. 12 heavenly devil fruits was more than enough. It should be enough to help him break through to the 10th layer of the Emperor realm. Lin Feng was about to leave when a group of people quickly walked over. "Thank you for saving us, young master. Thank you for saving our lives. Brother." These people thanked Lin Feng, one after another. Lin Feng narrowed his eyes and sized up the group of people. He looked at Ling Yan and Qiu Zishi and said, "If you want to thank me, then have a romantic date with me." The two girls couldn't help but roll their eyes. This guy really went off topic with just a few sentences, and his personality was the same as before. He was simply a lecher. But thinking about it carefully, the two girls felt that how could such a powerful person like Lin Feng be such a shameless lecher? Or was this just a part of his personality that he purposely displayed to hide his true self? The more the two girls thought about it, the more they felt that it was possible. Lin Feng was such a terrifying person, but he acted like a lecher. It seemed that he was also a person with a story. The two women couldn't help but feel curious about Lin Feng. "A young master is a proud son of heaven. Why are you pretending to be a hooligan?" Ling Yin said, "Everyone loves beauty. I'm not acting like a hooligan. I like to appreciate the beauty of the world." Lin Feng said, "Humph, you're full of nonsense." Qiu Zishi snorted coldly. "How should I address you, young master?" The beautiful woman looked at Lin Feng and asked. Her voice was soft and crisp. After hearing it, he felt as if his bones were about to melt. Compared to Ling Yan and Qiu Zishi, she had a charming and mature temperament. This kind of charming and mature temperament was the most attractive. Lin Feng said, "We've only met by chance, so why ask for his name? The blood-refining starfield is filled with danger. If you don't have an itinerant immortal to guard it, I advise you to leave this place as soon as possible." After saying that, Lin Feng didn't stay any longer and quickly left. After Lin Feng left, he found a secluded place to enter seclusion. He wanted to break through to the 10th heavenly layer of the Emperor realm. This was the final realm of the Emperor realm. Once it was broken through, the next step was to prepare for breaking through to the Saint Emperor realm. Lin Feng adjusted his body to its peak state and started to refine the Holy Devil Fruit. As Lin Feng refined the Holy Devil Fruit, one by one, Lin Feng's magic power became purer and stronger. However, it was very difficult to break through to the 10th heavenly layer of the Emperor realm, but Lin Feng wasn't worried. Therefore, he had obtained enough Holy Devil Fruits this time. He would definitely break through. As time passed, Lin Feng refined the Holy Devil Fruits one after another. Lin Feng refined 9 Holy Devil Fruits in succession. However, he still couldn't break through to the next realm. This time, he needed more Holy Devil Fruits than Lin Feng expected. The remaining 3 Holy Devil Fruits were refined from the 3 itinerant immortal Holy Devil Fruits. The effect was much better than the Holy Devil Fruits he had refined before. Lin Feng took out a Holy Devil Fruit and began to refine it. It was a Fiend God fruit, refined from a Fiend God fruit after the death of a Fiend God. First firmament, loose immortal. Rumble, 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 rumble. Lin Feng's body emitted a sound that sounded like a surging river. The sound was so loud that even the apathetic could hear it. Lin Feng was on the verge of breaking through to the next realm. Half an hour later, Lin Feng broke through to the next realm. He finally broke through from the 9th heavenly layer of the Emperor realm to the 10th heavenly layer of the Emperor realm. There are still 2 Holy Devil Fruits left. Lin Feng's face lit up with joy. Lin Feng refined the remaining 2 Holy Devil Fruits. After Lin Feng refined the 2 Holy Demon Fruits, Lin Feng frowned. Suddenly, Lin Feng's strength increased once again, and his strength became even purer. Now, Lin Feng needed to raise his cultivation to the peak of the Emperor realm. Only after that could he attempt to break through to the Sage Emperor realm. After Lin Feng refined the 2 holy devil fruits, Lin Feng felt that his cultivation had stopped at the peak of the 10th heavenly layer of the Emperor realm. It seemed that it would be more difficult to break through from the 10th heavenly layer of the Emperor realm to the peak of the Emperor realm. It would consume more holy devil fruits. As for breaking through to the Sage Emperor realm, it would be even more difficult. However, if Lin Feng broke through to the Sage Emperor realm, it would be too terrifying. At that time, he would definitely possess unfathomable strength. Lin Feng had just come out of seclusion. In a mountain range about 1,000 miles northwest of Lin Feng, a huge battle broke out. If Lin Feng were here, he would definitely be able to recognize the besieged cultivator. The besieged cultivator was the middle-aged cultivator who was on the verge of going crazy because of the tragic death of his son and daughter. At this moment, dozens of Demon Dao cultivators were besieging this middle-aged cultivator. One had to admit that this middle-aged cultivator was too terrifying. His combat strength was simply heaven-defying. Although the Demon Dao cultivators besieging him were also extremely powerful, they were constantly being killed by the middle-aged cultivator. Of course, the other side had the advantage in numbers, so the middle-aged cultivator didn't have much of an advantage in this battle. A tall and sturdy old man walked over from afar. The old man wielded an azure dragon saber and slashed at the middle-aged cultivator. The old man was the leader of this group of Demon Dao experts. He slashed out with his saber, leaving no trace behind. His saber technique was truly terrifying to the extreme. The middle-aged cultivator quickly dodged, but a saber chi still left a bone-deep wound on his body. "Where's the Demon Lord token? Hand it over, and I'll give you a quick death," the old man said coldly as he looked at the middle-aged cultivator. "You'll never get the Demon Lord token," the middle-aged cultivator said coldly. Then his body suddenly exploded and turned into a blood-red light, disappearing into the void. "Chase!" the old man shouted in a deep voice. The Demon Lord token, the one rumored to be able to command the demon realm, has actually appeared again. These people were about to chase after the middle-aged cultivator who had escaped. A voice suddenly resounded in the mountain forest. The cultivators who wanted to chase after the middle-aged cultivator couldn't help but stop. Chapter 42:87. As soon as the voice left his mouth, the void trembled slightly before a cultivator walked out. The cultivator who appeared was none other than Di Jue, the crown prince of the Dao Saint Palace. Di Jue had broken through to the itinerant immortal realm after cultivating for 180 years. Even in the entire universe, this person was considered a heaven-defying monster. He made people exclaim in admiration, shock, and disbelief. He was too powerful. Therefore, in the face of these Devil Dao experts, Di Jue was still arrogant. Everyone looked at Di Jue, who had suddenly appeared. Many of the Devil Dao experts' eyes flashed with a ghastly coldness. The matter of the Devil Master token was a secret that could not be exposed. Otherwise, it would bring about great trouble. Moreover, if too many people knew about it, it would be hard to say if they could obtain the Devil Master token. This was especially true for the major forces of the Undying World and even the major forces of the Heaven Realm. Their chances of obtaining the Devil Master token would be even smaller. The old man in the lead waved his hand. Immediately, more than 10 Devil Dao experts surrounded Di Jue. When those Devil Dao experts looked at Di Jue, it was as though they were looking at a dead man. Perhaps, in their opinion, Di Jue would definitely die this time. Go to hell. More than 10 Devil Dao experts charged at Di Jue with powerful Dharma treasures in their hands. However, at this moment, Di Jue's lips curled into a contemptuous expression. Scram! He opened his mouth and spat out a single word. Those cultivators immediately felt as though they were struck by lightning. One by one, they were sent flying. They could not even get close to Di Jue's body. Di Jue was just too powerful. He was so powerful that people could not help but be aghast. Even the expressions of these Devil Dao cultivators turned extremely grave. They did not expect Di Jue to possess such heaven-defying combat strength at such a young age. Who are you? The old man in the lead looked at Di Jue with a gloomy expression. He was an itinerant immortal. Moreover, he was an itinerant immortal with a very high cultivation base. Therefore, he was not afraid when he faced Di Jue. Di Jue did not kill the people on his side. It meant that he did not want to completely fall out with them. It seemed like Di Jue wanted to work together. Di Jue of the Dao Saint Palace. Di Jue's mouth. What? Are you Di Jue of the Dao Saint Palace? Cries of surprise rang out one after another as the cultivators looked at Di Jue in shock. Obviously, these Devil Dao cultivators had also heard of Di Jue's great name. However, it was their first time seeing Di Jue. Di Jue's powerful battle prowess had indeed shocked them. The old man in the lead was different from the other cultivators. After all, he was experienced and knowledgeable. Therefore, even when he heard Di Jue's self-introduction, he did not show too much shock on his face. He appeared to be quite calm. So, you're the Dao Saint Palace's crown prince, Di Jue. Now, tell me your purpose. Di Jue smiled nonchalantly and said, I'm not interested in controlling the devil world. I'm only interested in the few supreme treasures in the devil world. Demonic orb, demonic mirror, demonic stone. There are also 2 supreme treasures. I don't know what they are exactly, but it is said that the demonic master token can be used to find these supreme treasures. Are you eyeing the supreme treasure of my demon world? The old man looked at Di Jue with a gloomy expression. This person was actually an expert from the devil world. It was really unexpected. The devil world was one of the top 7 great worlds among the 3,000 great worlds. In this world, there were many experts. Moreover, there had been many earth-shattering figures in the history of the devil world. However, some of the powerful figures in the devil world were usually ambitious. Therefore, once there was a change in the devil world, it would usually cause great suffering. However, the outside world did not know much about the devil world because it was shrouded in a layer of mystery. Some cultivators who had entered the devil world to explore the secrets of the devil world had died in the devil world. The supreme treasures in the world are naturally obtained by those who are fated to obtain them. The supreme treasures of the devil world are no exception. All of you aspire to obtain the demonic master token and unify the devil world, while I aspire to obtain the few supreme treasures of the devil world. We each have our own needs. Wouldn't it be a match made in heaven if we worked together? Di Jue said nonchalantly. The old man could not help but frown and ponder deeply. If he did not agree, it would be very difficult for them to carry out their plan. If Di Jue wanted to trip them up, they would not be able to resist him. After all, a powerful dragon could not defeat a snake in its old haunts. All right, we can work together. After we obtain the demonic master token, we'll bring you to look for those treasures. The old man from the devil world said. Di Jue said, I heard that in order to fully unleash the power of the few supreme treasures, we'll have to make a trip to the devil world's saint land. I wonder if that's true? The old man said. Of course it's true. Don't worry. We'll bring you to the Devil World Saint Land when the time comes. That's great. I'll issue an order now to search for the whereabouts of that Devil Dow cultivator with all our might. The corners of Ju's mouth curled up into a faint smile as he spoke. As the crown prince of the Dao Saint Palace, Jue had a huge force under him. Therefore, when he gave the order, many cultivators in the blood refinement great world began to search for the middle-aged cultivator. Some of them were Jue's subordinates. It was only natural that they wanted to contribute. Some of them were not related to Jue at all. The reason these cultivators also joined in was because they wanted to make a great contribution in front of Ju. If that was the case, when the time came, they might be remembered by Jue. If they could form a relationship with Jue, they might even become his friends. At that time, they would definitely soar. A large number of cultivators were searching for the middle-aged cultivator's whereabouts. On this day, Lin Feng passed by a mountain range. He noticed that there was a rolling black chi in the mountain range. A cultivator was sitting cross-legged in the middle of the black chi. This cultivator was none other than the Devil Dao cultivator whose son and daughter had died. During this period of time, many people were searching for the whereabouts of this Devil Dao cultivator. Lin Feng hadn't thought he would run into such a demonic cultivator here. When the Devil Dao cultivator saw Lin Feng, his expression changed slightly. He only knew how powerful Lin Feng was. If he were to attack him now, he would most likely die. At this moment, Lin Feng seemed to have sensed something as he looked into the distance. He had a feeling that someone was rushing toward them at high speed. I have no intention of making you my enemy. It seems like your enemy is here. We can't stay here any longer. I'll bring you away. Lin Feng said. The middle-aged cultivator took a deep look at Lin Feng before nodding his head. He chose to believe in Lin Feng. However, he did not know why he chose to believe in Lin Feng. Lin Feng came to the middle-aged cultivator's side. He grabbed the middle-aged cultivator's shoulder before he shuttled through the void and left with the middle-aged cultivator. Not long after, the void split open. Jue walked out of the void that had split open. Where is he? Jue looked at the empty valley in the depths with a gloomy expression. Chapter 42, 88. Jue was very resourceful and had boundless magic power. After his subordinate reported the news to him, Jue rushed over. As soon as Ju rushed over, he could already sense the middle-aged cultivator's aura even though he was still far away. However, when he arrived, the middle-aged cultivator had disappeared. Jue had always felt that the middle-aged cultivator was here. In fact, the reason Jue had such a feeling was that when Lin Feng brought the middle-aged cultivator away, he had used the great bewitching technique to create an aura that was exactly the same as the middle-aged cultivator's to confuse Jue. However, Jue did not notice it at all. At this moment, Jue had also regained his senses. An extremely grave expression immediately appeared on his face. At this moment, the group of Devil World cultivators stepped out from the void. Where's that fella? When the Devil World cultivators did not see the middle-aged cultivator, their expressions turned grave. Jue said, he ran away. However, he won't be able to escape. The starry sky world outside, the blood refinement great world has been completely sealed. Unless he's hiding in the blood refinement great world, he won't be able to escape even if he has wings. Even if he's hiding in the blood refinement great world, he won't be able to escape. I'll gather more cultivators to search for that fella. The old man who was the leader of the Devil World nodded and said, That's great. I hope we can find that fella soon. Otherwise, a long night will bring trouble. Lin Feng brought the middle-aged cultivator to a mountain forest 100 miles away. He opened up a cave abode in the mountain forest. Both of them entered the cave abode, while Lin Feng sealed the cave abode. The middle-aged cultivator continued to sit cross-legged as he circulated his energy to heal his injuries. Lin Feng, on the other hand, sat at the side and waited for the middle-aged cultivator to come out of his closed-door cultivation. A day later, the middle-aged cultivator's injuries had mostly healed. He opened his eyes and looked at Lin Feng as he asked, "Why did you help me when I wanted to kill you?" Lin Feng smiled faintly and said, "I helped because I wanted to." The middle-aged cultivator said with a frown, "That's not a valid reason." Lin Feng asked, "Why? You need a reason to do something?" "Yes," the middle-aged cultivator said. Lin Feng said, "I feel that your nature isn't bad. The reason you went around killing people is because you wanted revenge. I understand your feelings, so I don't blame you." The middle-aged cultivator sneered and said, "Everyone has the right to kill people from the Devil Dao, but you're saying that I'm not bad based on your own feelings? What a joke." Lin said, "So what if you're from the devil world? I know a lot of Devil Dao cultivators. I have a life and death friend who is even from the Heavenly Devil clan, so I don't look at Devil Dao or Evil Dao cultivators differently. Moreover, in this world there are too many sanctimonious righteous people who are actually more evil than evil demons." The middle-aged cultivator remained silent. He then asked, "What's your name?" "Lin Feng." "Lin Yun Song," the middle-aged cultivator said. "What a coincidence, we're from the same clan." Lin Feng said with a smile. The middle-aged cultivator looked at Lin Feng and asked, "You don't look like someone from this star field. Where did you come from?" Lin Feng said, "I'm a cultivator who traveled through space from the 9 provinces' great world. I plan to go to the Undying Realm." The Undying Realm. The middle-aged cultivator's pupils shrank slightly. A pained expression appeared in his eyes. He originally wanted to go to the Undying Realm. He wanted to live in seclusion with his child in the Undying Realm and watch his child grow up. However, he didn't live to see that day. "I'm sorry. I've reminded you of something sad." When Lin Feng saw the middle-aged cultivator's pained expression, he immediately knew that his words must have reminded the middle-aged cultivator of something very sad. Therefore, Lin Feng quickly apologized. In fact, he sympathized with the middle-aged cultivator. Such a pair of adorable children had died so miserably. Who wouldn't go crazy in such a situation? Ask yourself this. If it were himself, Lin Feng felt that he would slaughter the entire family. There's no need to apologize. I've already accepted this fact. Right now, I just want to kill that person. The middle-aged cultivator's eyes flashed with a chilling, killing intent. Lin Feng remembered what had happened back then. He remembered that the one who had killed the middle-aged cultivator's son and daughter had been wearing the clothes of the Dao Holy Palace. But after that, Lin Feng had never seen that cultivator again. "That guy is an expert from the Dao Saint Palace," Lin Feng said. "I know. I've been looking for him, but I couldn't find any trace of him. If I can't find him, I'll hide in the Dao Saint Palace. Even if I have to pay with my life, I'll cut him into 1,000 pieces." At this point, the middle-aged cultivator couldn't help but clench his fists. His heart was filled with hatred. It was also filled with pain. He missed his child very much, but he would never be able to see his child again. Lin Feng could understand the pain of losing a loved one. Lin Feng still remembered the scene of his third uncle dying to save him. Even though many years had passed, every time he thought of the scene of his third uncle's tragic death, Lin Feng's heart still felt like it was being stabbed. Hatred was Lin Feng's motivation to continue working hard. Don't be so rash. It's too dangerous to enter the Tao Saint Palace. As long as you're alive, there's always hope. Lin Feng said. I know. Thank you for the reminder. The middle-aged cultivator replied. Who's looking for you? Lin Feng asked. The middle-aged cultivator said. People from the demon world and the Tao Saint Palace. I think the Tao Saint Palace and the demon world have joined forces. Hearing this, Lin Feng was surprised. He hadn't thought there would be people from the demon world apart from the Tao Saint Palace who were looking for the middle-aged man. The demon world was shrouded in a layer of mystery to Lin Feng. Lin Feng asked, Why are they looking for you? The middle-aged cultivator fell silent. It was as if he didn't want to talk about it. Lin Feng said, If it's a secret, then don't say it. I'm not someone who likes to pry into other people's secrets. The middle-aged cultivator sighed and said, It's a secret, but to me, I only want revenge. Any treasure or secret is useless to me. I might die at any time. If this item is left with me, it's very likely that my enemies will get it. Rather than that, I'd rather give it to you. What is it? Lin Feng couldn't help but feel puzzled. The middle-aged cultivator's enemies were hunting him down for this item. It was obvious how extraordinary this item was. Swoosh! There was a flash of light, and an item flew out. Lin Feng looked and saw that it was a token. What token is this? Lin Feng asked curiously. Chapter 42:89. The middle-aged cultivator said, This is the Demon Lord token passed down by the 9th Demon Lord. What? Demon Lord token? There's such a thing? What can this token do? Hearing the middle-aged cultivator's words, Lin Feng was shocked and couldn't help but ask curiously. The inheritance of the 9th Demon Lord represents supreme authority. After obtaining the Demon Lord token, one can command many forces in the demon realm. The middle-aged cultivator said. Hearing this, Lin Feng suddenly thought of the true dragon token he had obtained back then. It seemed to have the same effect as the Demon Lord token. True dragon token, to be able to command the dragon realm. Of course, Lin Feng hadn't gone to the dragon realm yet because Lin Feng still didn't know where the dragon realm was. The dragon realm had always been mysterious. Lin Feng felt that perhaps he could find out the exact location of the dragon realm after reaching the undying realm. After finding out the exact location of the dragon realm, he would head to the dragon realm and subdue the various races there. The entire dragon realm, it would become one of his territories. The various races of the dragon realm would also become his people. Thinking of this, Lin Feng couldn't help but feel a little excited. No wonder those people are chasing after you so crazily. Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh. The world was full of clamors for benefits. The Demon Lord token had great implications, so the other party naturally wouldn't let the middle-aged cultivator go. Other than commanding the demon realm, the Demon Lord token can also lead to the demon realm's 5 great treasures. Now that the 5 great treasures have been lost, if you can find the 5 great treasures of the demon realm, that would be heaven-defying. Rumor has it that after gathering the 5 great treasures, a cultivator's combat strength would definitely be heaven-defying. If you can fully unleash the power of the 5 great treasures, even those behind the scenes might not be a match for you. The middle-aged cultivator continued. Damn, so powerful? You're exaggerating, right? Lin Feng couldn't help but say. In fact, Lin Feng had also heard of the 5 great treasures of the demon realm because the ancient devil ring that Lin Feng had was one of the 5 great treasures of the demon realm. The ancient devil ring was mysterious and unfathomable. Even the current Lin Feng had yet to fully explore its secrets. As for the other supreme treasures, Lin Feng didn't know what they were. The only thing he knew was that those supreme treasures were extremely terrifying. Moreover, the origin of those supreme treasures was also incomparably ancient. The middle-aged cultivator replied, "I don't know if it's an exaggeration. We'll have to wait until we gather all 5 supreme treasures before we can verify it." Lin Feng asked, "What are these 5 supreme treasures?" "The demonic bead, the demonic mirror, the demonic stone, the demonic ring. There's another treasure that even I don't know. That treasure is really mysterious. Moreover, it had disappeared in the absolute beginning era. Thus, people didn't know what it was. However, according to some legends in the Devil Realm, that treasure can also be sensed through the Devil Master token." The middle-aged cultivator said. Hearing the middle-aged cultivator's words, a look of shock appeared on Lin Feng's face. The demonic bead was also one of the 5 supreme treasures? Didn't that mean that he had already collected 2 of the 5 supreme treasures? Lin Feng still remembered the mysterious woman in the demonic bead. Even now, Lin Feng still didn't know her exact origins. Lin Feng looked at the Devil Master token in the middle-aged cultivator's hand and couldn't help but reveal a look of joy. This Devil Master token seemed to be a little too heaven-defying. It was really a good item. Lin Feng asked, "Uncle, are you really planning to give me the Devil Master token?" "Of course." The middle-aged cultivator nodded and handed the Devil Master token to Lin Feng. Lin Feng started playing with the demon leader's talisman, following which Lin Feng channeled his magic power into the Devil Master token. Instantly, he felt as if his soul was being pulled into a mysterious world. That mysterious world was ancient and filled with vicissitudes. In that mysterious world stood 9 ancient existences. They were the 9 mighty existences. They were like immortal gods that had existed since ancient times. They were so powerful and so terrifying. Those 9 existences were none other than the 9 existences. They were the 9 Devil Masters. The Devil Master token was imprinted with the aura of the 9 Devil Masters, and Lin Feng could sense their auras. In the next moment, his divine thought withdrew from the Devil Master token. At that moment, Lin Feng discovered that the demonic bead in his dantian was fluctuating violently. Whoosh! The next moment, the demonic bead flew out and began to revolve around the Devil Master token. This is the legendary demonic bead. When he saw the demonic bead, the middle-aged cultivator couldn't help but exclaim. His face was filled with deep shock, and he couldn't believe what he was seeing. The demonic bead. It was actually the demonic bead. How many people had tried to find the demonic bead, but failed? The demonic bead actually had an owner. The next moment, the runes imprinted on Lin Feng's arm began to fluctuate violently. Next, the ancient devil ring flew out as well. The ancient devil ring also began to revolve around the Devil Master token. After seeing the ancient devil ring fly out, the middle-aged cultivator was so shocked that he couldn't speak coherently. Lin Feng, alone, without the demon leader's talisman, had already collected 2 of the 5 most precious treasures. If this news spread to the devil world, the entire devil world would be shaken, right? Hee. I've had a small fortuitous encounter these past few years. I've obtained 2 of the 5 supreme treasures. Lin Feng grinned. The middle-aged cultivator couldn't help but roll his eyes. How was this a small fortuitous encounter? This was clearly a heaven-defying fortuitous encounter. The middle-aged cultivator said, "You've managed to collect 2 supreme treasures without the Devil Master token. This means that you're fated with the Devil Master token. Now that you've obtained the Devil Master token, I believe that you'll be able to collect the remaining 3 supreme treasures soon enough." "I hope so." A look of anticipation appeared on Lin Feng's face. Lin Feng then asked, "The people from the Dao Saint Palace and the Devil World, have teamed up to look for you. It seems that the people from the Tao Saint Palace also want the Devil Master token, right? The middle-aged cultivator said, I don't think so. The people from the Tao Saint Palace also know that the Devil Master token is a hot potato. It's not something they should covet. I'm guessing that the people from the Tao Saint Palace want to use the Devil Master token to obtain the 5 supreme treasures. As for the Devil Master token, it belongs to the people from the Devil world. Do the people from the Tao Saint Palace know what the 5 supreme treasures are? Lin Feng asked. The middle-aged cultivator said, the Devil Orb, the Devil Mirror, and the Devil Stone. News of these 3 items has spread far and wide, so they should know about them. Very few people know about the Devil Ring, so I'm not sure if they know about it. As for the 5th supreme treasure, I'm sure they don't know about it because I'm not the only one who doesn't know what it is. Even the people from the Devil world don't know what it is. Chapter 4290. After the middle-aged cultivator's explanation, Lin Feng finally had a more detailed understanding of the Devil Lord token. Let's part ways here. I have to continue looking for the enemy of the Tao Saint Palace. The middle-aged cultivator said. Lin Feng couldn't help but worry for the middle-aged cultivator. He said, there will be plenty of opportunities for revenge. There's no need to rush. Now that so many people are looking for Uncle, it's dangerous outside. I think Uncle should avoid them. I will. Before I kill my enemy, I won't die so easily, the middle-aged cultivator said. He patted Lin Feng's shoulder and said, cultivate well. I hope we can meet again in the future. I also hope to meet Uncle, Lin Feng said. The middle-aged cultivator left. He was a very good person. Lin Feng had known this for a long time. In the beginning, he had been constantly killing people out of hatred. Now he had woken up. Lin Feng hoped that he could kill the person of the Tao Saint Palace. Only then would he be able to gradually free himself from his hatred. After parting with the middle-aged cultivator, Lin Feng continued looking for powerful sacred devils. He needed to collect more sacred devil fruits to increase his cultivation. However, Lin Feng found that the sacred devils had disappeared. After searching for many days, he couldn't find any traces of them. It was very strange. On this day, a terrifying fluctuation came from the depths of the blood refinement grand world. Such a terrifying fluctuation alarmed everyone. Many cultivators quickly flew towards the source of the fluctuation. They entered the underground world, and soon, news spread that a sacred devil king was transforming in the underground world. The sacred devil king was the king of the sacred devils. His bloodline was extremely powerful. This sacred devil king had suffered an extremely serious injury in the past, so his cultivation had fallen greatly. He had even fallen below the loose immortal realm. This time, he had recovered to the loose immortal realm. This sacred devil king wasn't someone that ordinary sacred devils could contend against. Once this sacred devil king broke through to the loose immortal realm, his cultivation would be terrifying. A large number of cultivators surrounded the sacred devil king, including some loose immortal realm experts. However, the sacred devil king still managed to escape. The holy devil emperor unleashed a massacre and fled without a trace. Although the holy devil emperor's cultivation base has dropped, his bloodline is simply too powerful. If we use his bloodline to refine the holy devil fruit, he'll be able to refine the holy devil fruit. If he refined a sacred devil fruit, one sacred devil fruit might be comparable to dozens of ordinary sacred devil fruits. The sacred devil king's memories contained many secrets of the sacred devil tribe, sacred devil race that disappeared, but they were extremely powerful in the past. That's right. Now, all the major powers have their eyes on the Saint Devil Emperor. It seems that they are determined to kill the Saint Devil Emperor. Countless cultivators were discussing this matter. Indeed, it was as the cultivators had said. Now, countless forces wanted to kill the sacred Devil King. However, it wasn't that easy to kill the sacred Devil King. In the following period of time, there were constant rumors of cultivators fighting the sacred Devil King. The Saint Devil Emperor was very cunning. After killing a group of people, he would immediately leave. He would absolutely not continue to stay in one place. This kind of guerrilla warfare method made many people feel very helpless. Of course, the most helpless thing was that the Saint Devil Emperor knew how to change his appearance. The sacred Devil King's transformation techniques were strange and unpredictable. Once he transformed into someone else, no one would be able to discover any flaws. Therefore, the sacred Devil King would often transform into the cultivators of various forces. Then, he would hide in the middle of the various forces and suddenly launch an attack on them. As a result, the various forces had suffered heavy losses. This matter had caused a lot of panic. Fortunately, many cultivators had brought demon-revealing mirrors. After they used the demon-revealing mirrors to protect themselves, the sacred Devil King became much more obedient. On this day, Lin Feng saw black fog rolling in the distance. A great battle had broken out. When Lin Feng flew over, he saw more than a dozen cultivators besieging 3 sacred devils. The cultivators didn't have much of an advantage in the battle against the 3 sacred devils. The 3 sacred devils laughed eerily. The Tao Saint Palace cultivators absorb the power of the Tao source every day. Even their flesh is fragrant. You will be greatly nourished if you eat it. Shameless boasting. We'll kill you all later. A female cultivator said coldly. The female cultivator who spoke was tall and slender with a beautiful face. She could be considered a top-grade beauty. Her cultivation was clearly extraordinary. Although the Tao Saint Palace cultivators weren't weak, it was obvious that they weren't a match for the 3 sacred devils. They were being suppressed more and more. Lin Feng stood in the distance. He naturally didn't care about the Tao Saint Palace cultivators. He would wait until the 3 sacred devils killed the Tao Saint Palace cultivators before he attacked and killed the 3 sacred devils. At this moment, a red light flashed between heaven and earth. A treasured sword flew out from the red light. The power of the treasured sword was truly terrifying. With a light shake of the void immediately collapsed. The treasured sword slashed towards the 3 holy demons. Uft! The sound of something being torn apart was suddenly heard. One of the sacred devils was killed by the treasured sword. Oh no, it's an expert from the Tao Saint Palace. Run! The other 2 sacred devils' expressions changed abruptly. They turned and fled. The 2 sacred devils fled separately. This way, their chances of escaping were higher. The treasured sword quickly chased after one of the sacred devils. Uft! That sacred devil was also killed. At this moment, a sacred devil fled in Lin Feng's direction. Lin Feng slapped at the sacred devil. You're courting death. The fleeing sacred devil couldn't help but shout. Its sharp claws clawed at Lin Feng. Bang! With a violent collision, Lin Feng and the fleeing sacred devil collided. The fleeing sacred devil's body exploded. Lin Feng refined the sacred devil into a sacred devil fruit. At this moment, a woman flew over from afar. She was also from the Tao Saint Palace. She was tall and wore a long red dress. She was also extremely beautiful. She looked somewhat similar to the woman who was leading the group. Senior sister. The group bowed to the woman. Big sister. The female cultivator, who was originally the leader of the group, also bowed to the woman. However, she called the woman Big Sister. It seemed that they were sisters.